Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Women's Speed Chess Championships. I'm Jennifer Shahadi, and I'm here with my friend Grandmaster Irina Krush, and we are very excited to call today's exciting matchup.
Yeah, well, we're going to be looking at the matchup, I think, of maybe, if not friends, certainly teammates, Harika Dronavalli and Vaishali, who are going to be playing for India at the Chess Olympiad starting next week. India is going to have a really strong team at the Olympiad this year. And the format of this event, Jen, it is 3 portions of Blitz, 5+1 for 90 minutes, 3+1 for 60 minutes, and then Bullet for 30 minutes.
That's right. And each game is worth the same number of points. Of course, the player at the end with the most points will win. And what we see a lot there is turnovers in the bullet. But let's take a look at the bracket to see who is already in those semifinals, as we saw that Katerina Lano and Valentina Gunina have both already advanced to the final four. And either Dronavalli or Vaishali are looking to join in one of those coveted spots. And the winner of this match will play Katerina, who just got through Humpy Canero. I mean, if you look at that lineup, that is the three players who are going to be leading the Indian women's Olympic team. But Canero did get ousted from this competition.
Yeah, so we have a big match coming up, Hao Yifan versus Alexandra Kosteniuk. And also, Katerina Lagno will be playing the winner of this match. So in terms of who is going to have the edge today, let's see what the insights tell us. Wow. So Vaishali plays a lot online. I thought Harika played quite a bit on chess.com, but Vaishali plays like 5 times more than her. And but Harika's accuracy is a little bit higher. They have, I would say, a similar win percentage by flag. And Harika, she really doesn't lose by flag a lot. That's a notable statistic, Jen. Just 4% losses by flag versus 60% for Vaishali. That could make a difference today.
Oh, yeah, that's an outstanding statistic. I got to wonder, like 4% losing on time and blitz. How does she do it? Does that mean like she resigns when she's lost? She just doesn't lose a lot? Like, yeah. I need to start parsing that statistic because I'm very curious. I do know that Harika, I think, has another account that she also plays on. I remember her mentioning that on one of her interviews. Because I think I was complimenting her on our rating, and she was like, "Oh, that rating, my other account has an even higher one." So I think the 500 is a little deflated, and it makes sense because she's such a good blitz player that she plays quite actively.
Yeah, well, let's see what Smarter Chess is going to tell us about who's going to win this match. Curious what their conclusion is. Their blitz ratings are quite similar. So are their bullet ratings. In fact, Vaishali's is slightly higher. But despite that, okay, so the match is expected to go in Harika's favor 16-13 with a 67% win probability. Well, I can tell you my opinion about that, Jen. I think today is going to be a very close match based on what I saw of Vaishali on her way to get here. Her match with Bibisara Sobayeva, I think showed a lot of good chess and made me think that Vaishali is definitely a good chess player. And Harika is going to have to play her best to beat her.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is going to be a very exciting match. We see both the players ready to go as we're going to get the 5-minute portion started momentarily. I really like Harika's style. I like Vaishali's style. I think it's going to be a contrast, though. I do think we're going to see what we see, I think, from Harika is a lot of professional play, right? She's very professional. That's why you don't lose on time a lot. And Vaishali, of course, younger, very exciting player, is going to kind of try to mix it up, I believe.
Yeah, when you said you like their style, I was thinking you were going to comment on Harika's beautiful dress today.
Oh yeah, it is very nice. It's like black with sparkles.
Yeah. It's definitely quite nice for the Women's Speed Chess Championship. We usually see something a little more casual. But yeah, so Harika got very deep into the championship last year. She got to play the finals against Hao Yifan, where it was also a close match. And she defeated Katerina Lagno along the way. So she's definitely really, really good. But you know, yeah, so let's take a look at the games, Jen.
Yeah, it looks like it's underway. Exciting.
Yeah, we have E4, E5. Wow, so Harika is going for E4. That is slightly surprising. Maybe not so surprising. She did try out E4 a couple of times against Corey Daisy. So that's something that she's added to her repertoire in the last, I would say half a decade or so.
And here she plays a4. Love that in blitz. You never know. Sometimes they forget about b4 and a5, trapping the bishop. But clearly that's not going to happen with Vaishali as she immediately plays a5. There's a bit of a difference positionally. Do you play a5 or do you play a6? Well, a5
Right.
stops b4, but it does also get less control over the b5 square. So
Yep. Did you play the Italian for white, Jen?
Oh,
When you
I've
were
played
playing?
that. Yes, I have played the Italian for white. I played it. I played this kind of like slow variation, and I also played some of the more gambly variations as well. So yeah, I liked it. But then at some point, I had a coach who explained to me that the Roy Lopez was just like the Italian, except your bishop doesn't get attacked on c4 as much, right?
Mm.
And so I got converted to the Roy Lopez for most of my career.
Yeah, so white is playing knight d2. I wonder if she's going to try to go knight f1
Without
before
castling?
castling. Probably not, right? I mean, because you've
No.
always got to watch out for this d5 strike. So when you were playing these positions, Jen, how much did you pay attention to this idea?
Of d5, yes, that's the problem. If black can get d5 in unencumbered, that is a real annoyance. It's just basically similar to the Ray Lopez. Like if they get d5 in and it doesn't like sacrifice a pawn like in the Marshall, it usually means they've equalized. I mean, this is like a kind of theme in a lot of different openings. And look at that, knight g4 played at once. Hitting the f2, it looks like that's going to compel us to castle, which is something we want to do anyway. But then what's the follow-up? Is it to play f5 right away? But then we can't castle. So I found it a bit puzzling.
Interesting. Well, first of all, both players are definitely trying to find their rhythm getting into this game, right? Because you cannot say that they're playing super fast. It took about 1 minute to get to 7 moves, playing pretty standard moves. But Vaishali, she had to think. I think she was trying to prepare some aggressive plans, like after h3, knight f6, and then g5. But Harika, yeah, actually kind of like where Harika is going with this. She got d4 in. It's kind of must feel kind of nice to shut down that bishop for a while.
Oh yeah, and after h3, the knight's just going to have to go right back to f6. It's true that right now you have adequately defended e5, and honestly, we don't even really want to take on e5. We kind of prefer the tension because it keeps that bishop b6 at bay, which is a really strong piece ordinarily.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that just h3 and then we just need to figure out what to do with the e4 pawn. So
Yeah.
she's played bishop to b5 instead. What's the idea there? Just to play h3, bishop c6, and then take on e5.
Yep, I think so. That's an interesting move. Yeah, you mentioned that b5 square, Jen, that got weakened after a5, and I would say this move makes sense to me. I guess, that was an issue in this position that, if you went after the knight f6, you were going to have a few problems with this pawn. Like you couldn't just keep on developing. And if you go rook e1, then it wasn't really clear where to develop this bishop. And certainly black would go like rook e8. And that was really the big question for white, because white doesn't really want to push. Obviously, that completely opens up the scope of this bishop. And doesn't necessarily, well, they can take any 5. Like that's not such a bad idea. That's actually kind of common. They can take, maybe play queen e2, count on a little edge. But Harika chose a different path. So she went bishop b5, cd, ed, knight b4, h3, knight f6, rook e1. So that is our current position. And you can see it went in quite a different path.
Yeah, rook e1 now, and d5, okay. That's an important move, trying to just get that stake back in the center. And okay, so it's important though that if e5, knight e4 is, okay, so e5 was played by Harika quickly, and now knight to e4, and the knight is actually bereft of squares, but we can't attack it, so no big problem there for Vaishali.
So will she play f6? That's the big question for me, Jen. Well, hold on. I guess she needs to think a little bit about, it's like, is bishop takes b4 a threat, followed by a5? It doesn't really seem to be a big threat at the moment. I do think, okay, c6, sure. Well, I guess the bishop will go to f1. Yeah, f6 is a very big idea.
I would have considered also bishop b4 and bishop d3 is also a kind of annoying idea. coming into the game. So f6 was played.
Yeah, it's a very active move. I've definitely seen this happen a lot. And so she just wants to take here, open up the rook on the F file. And I would say right now, Vaishali definitely has the edge. And in a way, Jen, this does remind me of the match between Harika and Corey Daisy, where Harika in the beginning of the match, she kind of like started out by testing her opponent in 1e4, right? Which is basically giving up, I think, some sort of practical advantage, because e4, when you start playing it so late in life and then you play it in blitz, like you will never have that instinct forward as someone who's played it from childhood, right? So she, of course, she realizes that. And it's interesting that she kind of does it here as well, right? Like you can see, she's playing it. She knows the main ideas, all of that, but you feel like, this is not like absolutely her comfort zone. So I feel like we might see for a couple of games her trying this, and if it doesn't go so well, she will switch to things that she knows better.
Now, what about sacrifices here? Because I'm noticing some light square weaknesses, Irina. Speaking of people who like to play e4, something like rook e4, bishop c4, knight h4, and queen h5. I've just got all the light squares.
You can do that if you do if you want the game to go kind of in a faster pace, Jen. Because I think I'm going to go just king h7, knight h4. Even if I let you go queen h5, there's queen e8. It's not too scary.
Yeah, not enough firewood. That's the problem. You're right. I mean, it's like close. I just need like one more piece. One of the issues here, guys, is that knight on b3 it's really sad. And look at it on cue. The knight becomes less sad as it tries to remove one of Vaishali's strongest pieces. Her strongest piece, in fact, that knight on e4. I like that. I was just feeling sad about that knight because our pawn on d4 is protected and the knight is just not doing anything over there. So that kind of principle of the worst piece is very smart. But I have a question though. If knight takes d2, queen d2, I like that for white.
Hey Jen, how about pawn takes e5? That seems like an even bigger question, doesn't it?
Just firing things up because of f2. Okay, and then if I have to take on e4 first.
Yeah, pawn takes, rook take. I don't know. Does not just look really good for black? I mean, the position opening up for the two bishops.
I hear you. Okay, so you're saying pawn e5, knight e4, pawn e4, but yeah, and then after pawn e4, I can now take on e5 or e4.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that the engine doesn't seem to like this so much for black. It kind of looked.
Well, you have two bishops, really but your king is actually more airy than mine, right? So
yeah, it's airy. That's right. I mean, there's lots of so we're
bishop f5 played. By the way, this is a really well played game so far, but one of the reasons it's so well played is because they've been taking their sweet time. So it might not be as well played in the next 20 moves just because they're down to 1 minute each.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that is, I would say quite a slow pace, right? Down to a minute after 20 moves. And all of the critical moments are still going to be played out in this time trouble. So she's thinking, which way to capture? Stick with the pawn. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, she found a good move there. And I guess, on bishop f5, there was no bishop d3 because it was like a typical tactic with knight takes f2.
Okay, so this is cool. Knight h4, but bishop h7 slides into a comfortable little nook there for the bishop, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. Like, this is the obvious move. She can actually also think about pawn takes e5. It's not that crazy because there's so much pressure on f2.
Good point, because that does protect the bishop on f5. Yeah, I love that idea. Actually, it would force us to play knight takes f5 because it also attacks the knight on h4. And I think
how do you like capture back that pawn? But okay, she went with a simple move that makes sense. I mean, she's just better, isn't she? Like f5 here. F5 really strong.
Look at this interesting move e6 though. I like it. So if bishop d4, there could be e7 distracting tactic, right? I don't know. That pawn on e6 is strong too. Anything can happen now. Queen g5, okay. Oh, if queen takes g5, pawn g5, our knight is just trapped.
Wow. So then the queen has to
what do we do?
Back.
But then we lose our knight on h4.
Yeah, what does she do?
Panic mode here. Bishop f7. She finds the save.
Okay. Oh, wow. Nice decision by Vaishali. Two bishops for the rook. What to do now?
9 seconds left, but
You just
black.
take it. Okay, nice. Yeah, it's very nice. She's totally winning.
Yeah,
Black.
totally winning. Only 8 seconds, but it should be enough. Those bishops are monsters.
Yeah, bishop g8, now king h7, and thankfully it's not mate. Yep. Okay, the bishops are beautiful.
They sure are. Those bishops are going to be an absolute disaster now for Harika, who's going down in this game.
Yeah, well, Vaishali doesn't have a lot of time, but it should be enough to win this position. I mean,
look at that pawn, though. That pawn is just ready to go, right?
now she's about to go to the back rank. Okay. Just be a little careful,
What are we careful about? What do we need to be careful
Yeah,
about?
well, like if she leaves with the rook, then the 7th rank, she needs to be a little careful. She wants to make sure her bishops are protected. I kind of like this idea. Like,
oh, and there it is. The
nice.
checkmate to end the game. And what a resounding first round for Vaishali. Beautiful, beautifully played.
Yeah, well, she's a good player. She's maybe not as well known as Humpy and Harika, but she's a young player and she's coming up, and her chess looks good. Like that's what I could tell. Like she didn't win against Bibisara Sobayeva, who's the current women's world bliss champion. She didn't win by accident, just through good chess, Jen.
And here we have a line in the Petrov that I was just showing some young students in Philadelphia, trying to explain why, after knight takes e5, you have to play d6. And that when queen e2, queen e7, now, you don't lose any material. And this is going to lead to an early endgame, and we're going to have to see who's got those endgame chops.
Yeah, so I was kind of curious, in fact, what would we be seeing by Harika against 1e4? Because actually her repertoire is quite wide. She's quite well known for playing the French defense. I think that's really her main opening against e4, but she went for the Petrov here. And
alert, knight takes d6 on tap.
All right, yeah, I guess how will black be defending against that? It's actually not so simple, is it?
Maybe black should have traded queen's last move, Irina. Yeah, because I'm a little concerned here. We can't play knight takes e4.
Right.
And well, I guess, do we have to play king d8? Yeah, I guess we have.
Yeah, if you got to play that, then that means there is no solution, right? Because I mean, queen e6 runs into knight d4. Knight d4 seems like a problem.
d5. Okay, I hadn't seen that one. Okay, I hadn't seen that move. Knight d6 check is possible, but then you play king d8. And the idea is that you get your queen trade, which is good, because if your king's going to be on d8, you want the queens to be off the board, right?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like there's nothing too devastating for white. Like she will go knight d6, right? I mean, what else could she be thinking about? Knight d6, king d8, and well, she can take that bishop, but I was thinking maybe something like this, like that.
Yeah, I like queen e7, just kind of destabilizing you for a moment. Knight f5 check could be kind of annoying.
Yeah, like that, or I mean, taking the poor bishop probably doesn't make so much sense, right? Because you're helping black develop, but you do get the bishop here. I would even say this position, Jen, seems like something that either castle's queen side or maybe d4, like somewhere, seems like something that white can go for. And in fact, that's what we're seeing on the board. King e7, she's got that big choice, right? Will she go knight f5 or knight c8?
Yeah, or, bishop f4 is another possibility, but she did play knight to f5 check. I like it. And after king d8,
probably.
Yeah, I mean, white just has a
queen side,
more development. And, yes, you could call this an endgame, or you could call this a queenless middle game. What would you say it is, Irina? Middle game or endgame?
I think queenless middle game sounds good, because all the other pieces are still on the board, and it feels like, more of the spirit of still a middle game. Yeah,
and when I talk to crowds or students about whether it's a middle game or end game, the key thing is not really whether the queen is there. It's more about king safety, right? I always think of an end game as a part of the game where the king becomes a fighting piece. And the middle game is more where you're trying to protect your king. And in this case, I would say it's like the king on d8 can be a bit uncomfortable in some situations.
Yeah, so after h6, bishop h4, how Harika getting herself out of this because, oh wow, deciding to move the side pawns, huh? Okay, I mean, she can't really play g5 because that just entrenches that knight on f5, right? So I do feel like she's got definitely some residual problems, like white's
Yeah, it's hard to move
moves
stuff.
are obvious, yeah.
It's hard to move stuff. You can't move, like you said, g5 doesn't look appealing. You can't move your knight on f6. You can't move your knight on d7. And if you can't move your knight on d7, you can't move your bishop on c8. So it's like a domino effect with the development. So I guess what she'll try to do is she's trying to like move her pawn up to a3 and then, you know, find a good square for the bishop on f8. But what? Like, what is it?
What about like king c7 to b6? Kind of an interesting plan. G5 is interesting. Yeah, she can go knight h5 here, knight e4.
Oh, knight e4. She's looking for concrete play because she didn't want to wither away. Is knight e5 a potential here? Probably not. Now the knight on f5 is finally attacked because that knight has been a real boon to Vaishali's position. So this is definitely a happy moment for Harika to finally attack it.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, Harika has done very well for herself.
Well, look at this move. Bishop e5, allowing bishop takes f5 because then there's bishop takes e4 and bishop takes f6 check with a big fork.
Yes. Yes. And you can't take an f5, I think, at all, right? Because bishop takes e4, maybe?
Pawn takes e4, bishop f6 check. What's going on there? She's done it. She's gone for this line.
She is going for bishop f5, yeah? So we're going to see. There's also knight takes, e4, bishop h8, and
knight takes f2. Oh, yeah, good point. Yeah. Good point.
So she will have the same number of pieces at the end of all of that. That's right, because she starts off by taking a whole knight here. So after bishop e4, knight e4, bishop h8, knight f2, she gets the rook back. In fact, black is going to be up a pawn in this endgame.
That's sharp. You know, I hadn't seen that. I thought that after bishop e4, this was just great for white. You know, it's something that happens a lot, Irina. I noticed that when you win an exchange or in a game, sometimes you stop the analysis too quickly. And I think that this is an example of that. So unfortunately for Vaishali, she had to bail out with this instead, which is nothing special. I mean, it's a far cry from our position a few moves ago. Even material, bishops of opposite color, and black seems to have everything under control relatively. You know?
Yeah, this is the best position black has had in a while, Jen. And I have to give credit to Harika for extricating herself so nicely from like a very awkward looking position.
I'd still take white though. It just feels like, I don't know. I mean, look at this move h4. It's kind of annoying. It still just feels like white is the one who's like attacking stuff. Like black's not the one who has threats. But there's also this thing about momentum that does exist sometimes, that sometimes it's frustrating when you had a really good position and now you just have like a kind of good, maybe small advantage. But what's going on here? What's
interesting decision by Harika. She basically doesn't protect this pawn at all.
Well, there's bishop f4 at the end, right? So she's tactically defending it.
Yeah, there you go. That's important.
So what to do now for whites?
G3, Jen. G3. Like
G3.
Stopping the bishop, perhaps.
Just to protect it. Okay.
Yeah, it's not so crazy. I mean, if she can't take the pawn. Yeah, I think white, sort of is on the verge of having nothing here. But yeah, I would say this move seems reasonable because otherwise this bishop has quite a bit of power.
I think the middle game here is, what do we do? We see knight e5 here. Okay. I was going to say that in the middle game, a lot of times we see the move king b1 when the king is vulnerable on that diagonal. But in the end game, that's not so ideal because sometimes we want that king closer to the center. And knight to d7 has been played. And what's the story on e6? Well, Vaishali decides to keep the tension and play rook e1, probably a way better move.
Yeah, I think black is fine here. Really lots of choices since e6. I mean, the trade of pawns is not very dangerous for black. In fact, how does white defend the pawn? Do they have to, they can either take the knight, which is not very promising at all, or they got to push. Or they got to take, Jen. Yeah, on g5. Take on h8, but you don't want to take on h8. You want to give up the open file like that. So actually, Vaishali needs to be a little bit careful here because, yeah, there's like I think the black king is really well placed. I like this extra pawn in the center, and she needs to be a little careful. Let's say pawn takes now. That her bishop is not going to be very good, and that the black knight might be more effective, like coming to c5. What do you think, John?
Yeah, it does seem like White's kind of like done everything that she's wanted to, and now what? You know, when you get everything you want and it doesn't even really lead to any kind of happiness, well, that's a problem because it's going to be Black's turn now. And after knight to c5, bishop f5, Black. Oh well, and now everything's just off the board, so this should likely be a draw. But you know, you never want to count your draw until it's in the books because Black's king is very active here.
It's a little, yeah, it is more active for Black. I like that center pawn. I mean, I suppose anything can still happen because White has the outside pawn majority, but it's not like they can easily push it. So g3 is sort of just kind of a preparation for maybe one day f4.
Also 20 seconds left for Vaishali. Yeah. So she's the one who's down on time and has to keep an eye out on that. By the way, for those who are just joining us, we're in the 5-minute portion here. An hour and 8 minutes left. So we've got plenty of chess left in this. But Vaishali did start with a win, and Harika trying to even the score here in this endgame with more time and a slightly better minor piece in the endgame. I mean, that's rare.
Well, what about knight d6? Oh, you know, there was knight d6 would have been really interesting.
I like that. The bishop would have been trapped. Oh my God.
She could have tried to come over and win it. It would be interesting.
Oh, you're right, Irina. They could have just gone like king, snake the king deck back to b6.
Yeah,
what a spot. Oh my.
All right, I'm predicting, I think Harika can win this. I mean, for 6 seconds, it's pretty tough.
But if she played your move,
going to c3.
Oh, but she's still, the past is the past. Now let's look at the present. But she played c3 and now bishop h7 and the activity is a bit shut down. But can she make some threats? I think she can.
Yeah, she needs to go knight d7, knight c5, or knight g4, good, okay. But
don't keep, she's repeating. That's going to be a draw.
You think so? You think she's not going to try? I mean, it's not.
How many times has it been? I think it's ready. I think
yeah. It's not easy to find a plan. Yeah, I agree.
Oh, but your knight d6 was a great spot, Irina. Oh my gosh, that was a cool one.
Yeah,
trapping the bishop in the endgame. Usually, it's a knight that gets trapped in the endgame, Irina. So that was really striking.
That's right. The knight trapping the bishop is definitely a turnaround. Yeah.
And we got another Italian game, so no switch to d4 yet. Although I do actually agree with your prediction that it's going to happen. It's a matter of time. And we've got another like slow Joko. This time we've got bishop g5, h6, bishop h4 all on the board. We'll win an early g5. These are the funnest types of Italian games.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, Jen, if we do have wind up having Harika, let's say, for an interview, that would be the question I would ask her. Like, what is her strategic motivation for like playing e4 against her opponents when, you know, is it just that she's interested? She wants to try out some new positions just from like some sort of creative point of view. And she's kind of confident enough that even if things don't go well and she like doesn't get the maximum points, that she can always kind of go back to things that she has a better feel for and still win the match. Is it coming from that? Or I don't know, or does she really believe that that is like where her best chances lie?
Maybe the baby likes this, that likes e4. The baby's an e4 player.
Yeah. All right. So far you see again, Jen, I don't really see what she's got that happy to be about in the opening. It looks like these kinds of positions, Black is usually quite satisfied in, right? There's lots of play on the king side, although right now.
Queen b3 was just played. And by the way, that's one. Oh, and castle's queen side. Ooh. I was going to say. Because the queen was attacking on b7. Okay, so now it's actually kind of weird because we would have preferred maybe the queen to be back so that we can play for a quick b4 and just like smash things open. But instead, White castles queen side as well, which will surely steer it into slightly more positional waters since we now have our kings on the same sides. By the way, what I was referring earlier, Grandmaster Harika Dronavalli is, I believe, 7 months pregnant. She'll be playing for the Olympic team, the women's Olympic team. And actually, if it had been where in Moscow, where it was originally scheduled, she wasn't planning to travel. So in her case, the fact that it moved to India was really a big change.
Yeah, that's helpful to have it nearby, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, it's the home team advantage, especially in a country where chess is so popular. It should be really huge for India.
Yeah.
What place do they come ranked going into the event with Humpy Canero on board one? It's probably pretty high, right?
It's pretty high. This year, China and Russia are not playing, which really opens up the way to a lot of teams. So we have Ukraine, of course, Georgia. But I would say, apart from those two teams, which are always in the top of the rankings, India and Kazakhstan are like really looking good this year, right? Because they're basically been joined by the younger generation. So they have like at least three boards, which are like, super good. Although India, like the board four, I'm not sure who's playing, but it could be like Tanya Sajdev or.
Yeah, Tanya's playing in the Indian team. On the board I'm sorry. Of course, they have two teams. For those of you who don't know, the host country gets to have two teams. So all the Indian female and male stars are getting a spot this year. And of course, you're playing for the American team. So good luck.
Thank you, Jen. Yeah, it's actually really exciting to finally go and play a tournament abroad. I haven't traveled since I haven't been abroad internationally since the end of 2019, since I played in the World Rapid and Blitz Championship. So my first tournament going somewhere so far, and it's been 4 years since the Olympiad has happened. So it is pretty exciting to have this tournament return.
And here we have a position that I kind of got to like white, just looking at it, because of the pressure in the center and the idea that d4 is coming in. But let's see how it actually happens, because of course the bishop on g3 isn't really working yet. But I'm just anticipating that after d4, it's going to turn from a 0 into a hero.
Yeah, that's interesting. Lots of ideas for Black. Black has a nice looking pawn formation here, really restricting the bishop and the knight. And I agree, Jen, that Black needs to watch out for this d4 square, possibly even like a knight going there. So she actually stops knight there and she counterattacks the pawn. That was one of the moves I was thinking about.
Yeah. So this move knight b6 is pretty smart. And by the way, I see the engine completely disagrees with my assessment. I wasn't looking at the bar, which is good actually, because it shows you that those assessments aren't obvious at all. I think one of the issues is that knight b6. If we defend it with like a move like queen b5, queen a2 is a little creepy crawly move that could be very bothersome.
Yeah, I think knight b6 was actually even better than I conceived of it in the beginning.
Yeah.
At first I was thinking, we're just attacking a4. But then I was like, actually, the whole diagonal opens up for the queen, and that is powerful. Is she going to have to go back to a3? I actually think she might, but it's ugly to do that.
Yeah,
really not a good square for the queen. So
queen c5 turned out to be a very unfortunate move. Yeah,
she thought she was activating the queen from a3, right? But in reality, after this powerful move by Vaishali, knight going backwards, which is very easy to miss, Black finds a target in White's position, and this pawn is not so much a target because it's comfortably defended by the knight. So how is she going to defend this pawn? So she chooses not to defend the pawn. Okay, it's fine. You might as well go for something active when things are going badly for you.
Yeah, but I think queen a2 is just too invasive, because not only are you, stopping Black from ever getting any kind of king safety, but then knight a4 is going to come with a checkmate threat.
Yeah, I wonder what's better.
Not to mention the fact that,
better, should she go queen a2 first and then just maybe threaten queen a1, taking that pawn with a queen?
Yeah, I love it. I just think, get in there. Invasion. Queen a2.
I think queen a2 makes sense. Yeah, because in knight a4, then you're missing out on the chance of getting your queen in with check. By the way, knight a4, there's d5s. Oh, well, you're attacking the queen. Actually, it was possible too. But yeah, she goes for queen a2.
There it is, the big gun. The chess queen has entered White's
Yeah.
king castle, and that is a bad sign. I mean, oh, failing out with queen a3 does not look desirable.
Yeah, she pretty much, I feel like you just kind of take that pawn and see what happens and hope you're not losing.
What? Take on e5?
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't
Oh
know. Like, isn't that
man.
the whole point to open
Oh.
this bishop, Jen? I mean, I think
Oh.
it makes sense. And
Yeah.
I'm not, do you see me losing here like outright? I mean, maybe I am, but I don't quite see. I mean, I suppose there's knight c4, and then you want to go check and checkmate. So yes, you do have that. But the thing is that it's really hard for White to play here if they're not going to take the pawn. Like they
Knight
literally have no other move.
c4, threatening queen a1 and queen b2 mate. And you know you've cut off your escape route because the rook now blocks you. So yeah, fences you in. Yeah, I think White is just busted there. But she's trying to bail out with queen a3. Yeah, well, a better choice, no doubt. But I don't think it's going to work out for her because this endgame looks treacherous.
Yeah. So I mean, queen a3, of course, was kind of a desperate move, but maybe not a bad, not a bad practical decision. Although she's going to be down a pawn in this endgame, isn't she? She's going to have to hope that somehow rook e7 is going to be there to help her.
Exactly. But she's going to be down a pawn. But if you take it right away, you're right, rook e7. So she's played a very smart move, king d7. Because, hey, you actually literally cannot defend that pawn on a4. There's no way to do it. So this move was really smart. And now Black will probably take the pawn.
I think she'll take the pawn or c6. I mean, she doesn't have to hurry to take it, right, John? Like she can literally take it at any point. I guess she doesn't have rook e8 at the moment because that pawn will hang. And even if she plays pawn c6 and then goes rook e8, then there'll be bishop c7. So yeah, it made sense to take the pawn, put it in your pocket, and Harika c6, d5, but then c5 is an interesting move by Black.
So d5 with the idea of getting counterplay, pawn takes d5, rook c7 check, but you came up with this good, smart idea, c5. Yeah, I like that idea.
That's
rook
another
c8,
one. Yeah, rook c8 is the second good one.
Look at this. Like Harika is always a great fighter. Never going to make it easy here. There's 30 seconds left for Vaishali, kind of just trying to always attack something.
Yeah. She's trying her best, but overall, she's Vaishali has played a really good game. Now maybe rook back to the open file seems like a very safe thing to do. I mean, you can also go b5. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, f5, good move. Looking to cut off the bishop. So bishop e5 was a mandatory, but now that's going to make your idea of rook e8 coming in even more powerful because you can't just slide backwards with the bishop, then f4 will kill you.
Yeah, I mean, she played f4 because I guess on rook e8 there was f4 by White, so she's trying to stop that idea. Makes sense. Hopefully this pawn won't get lost at any point for Vaishali. But yeah, rook e8 is coming, and there's some issues with his bishop.
10 seconds left, though, for Vaishali. She's been in this situation before. Unfortunately, though, for Harika, just no active play now.
She has a really bad choice now because on knight c5 looks very tempting. And then you can always have knight e4 and knight e6. Yeah, b5. She's just going to get that pawn out of attack like that. She's really dominating here. Her pieces are on perfect squares. This rook is so active, and she's got the 3-on-1 advantage. She's about to capture that pawn as well. She just needs to make sure she doesn't lose on time. We've got 4 seconds left.
Yeah, 4 seconds left. If only Harika could make some counterplay here. And to be fair, it does look a little bit less convincing for Black than it was a few moves ago.
Yeah, fortunately not too much less convincing because now king d6. Yeah, she snatched that pawn. As long as she keeps that 3 against 1. Whoa. Rook c5. Did she just miss that?
Oh, rook c5.
Oh man, that was an important pawn for black, and she actually gave it up, and now it's just a draw, Jen.
Oh, because the king got too far away from the pawn, so it couldn't defend it anymore. But that's so natural because black was like doing so well and she was trying to centralize the king. Usually a good thing, but not if you lose contact with your most important pawn. MIP.
Yeah, so Harika, I think, can count herself very lucky here, but still, I mean, it's her defensive skills that got her here. She didn't give up in a really tough, horrible endgame, you know?
She never gives up. I love it. Never give up. Don't even think about giving up.
Yeah, it's funny. It could have been 2.5 to half, but instead it's going to be 2-1 at the end of this game. There's really no chances for Vaishali to win this one with just 2 against 1 on one side of the board. So I guess they'll play for a little bit, but it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. What can we say about how the match is going so far, John? I feel like Vaishali has the advantage on the chessboard.
Yeah, really well played so far, though. I think considering the time control, it's been really impressive chess quality. So, I think we're gonna have a lot of great games to look forward to.
But I wonder when Harika is going to be making her switch, Jen.
Yeah, I think she'll do it in the 3-minute. And then I think Vaishali is going to struggle a little bit in those time controls because if you look at the statistics that we saw at the beginning, she loses on time a lot more than Harika. And we're already seeing kind of glimpses of that in this match because at the end of the game, she gets down to a few seconds and Harika always has more.
Yeah,
if I'm remembering correctly, I feel like I've seen that pattern.
She's more of a perfectionist, I think, in her game, while Harika in Blitz is more of a practical player, right? And that's kind of, you're seeing the difference that's why Vaishali is doing better on the board and Harika is doing better on the clock. But so far in a 5-minute time control, that's allowed Vaishali to have a little bit of an edge. So 2-1, which, yeah, it could have been a little bit more than that, Jen.
It could have indeed, but those precious seconds, use them at the beginning of the game to get a better game, but then at the end of the game, it's not enough time to do what you need to do. And that, of course, is why Blitz is so tantalizing and such a difficult game, such a difficult form of chess, because you always have to make those decisions, spend more time in the opening and middle game to get a great position, but then can you convert it? And, these women are showing us different sides of that coin, right?
Yeah. So in the chat, Swara is saying something about that she seems strong for an IM, referring to Vaishali. I would definitely agree with that. I mean, I don't think that there's any reason why she cannot get to 2,500, pretty soon, and get her GM title. So it's probably just a matter of timing and getting those playing opportunities.
Yeah, I completely agree. She's still relatively young, very young. And then on top of that, she hasn't been as many Norm tournaments over the last few years, right? So I certainly see a Grandmaster title in her future.
Yeah. Which engine are they using? Engine that's in our minds, guys. All right. And of course, the players are not using any engines. So 94 by Vaishali. Well, we haven't said so much because this endgame has been pretty tame so far, Jen. I suppose White has a little bit of pressure on the e-file. If Black tries to neutralize it with knight e6, there is knight f5, where Vaishali had her knight in their previous game where she was White. So how does Black plan to neutralize this? I suppose White also, by the way, Jen, I think there's a move f4 in the cards. F4 and bishop f3. Seems nicer than just bishop f3. What do you think?
Yeah, why do you like f4 and bishop f3? Just to keep open the possibility of maybe playing g4 one day? What's the concept?
I just like the space. It's funny. It's like you don't even have a knight that can come to e5 yet, but I just like the idea of having this pawn there. I don't know why do I have that idea. Let's see if she does it. Let's see. Is that the concept? I like to make sure you can't play g5, Jen. I definitely like that as a prophylactic move.
I see. Okay, you don't want to. Yeah, you want to kind of strengthen that bishop at h4. Okay, that
Yes,
makes sense.
yes, that's the concept. So, I mean, in the end game, space still matters. It's not only in the opening. So unless this move is a weakening move, right? It's like, does it weaken too much? Does it weaken that square? Is the pawn going to be weak? There is that question, right? So there is a sort of
like
double edginess to that move.
Like a bishop g4 idea. What about bishop f3 right away with the crude threat of bishop takes c6? Just because king d8 was just played. And she played your move, f4 on the board.
Yay, Irina guessed.
So bishop g4, there is bishop takes f6. My bad. So you can't do that. Because I would, and bishop takes g4. So there, of course, you'd have to play rook e8 or something first and protect your pieces. But black does want to try to make some trades here because she sees that imminent pressure that if you're just able to play bishop f3 and like just kind of set the tone, it's going to be unpleasant. So she wants to trade some pieces off.
Yeah, what is White thinking about? She kind of has to trade, doesn't she, right? Because the f4 pawn was hanging. So now it's a little bit of a question. I want to go bishop f3 and g4, Jen, but the question is which move should I start with? Because if I go g4, I let you come back, you attack my pawn. It feels a little annoying.
I mean, knight e4 is also a thing that you might want to worry about here because if you play king d7, there is bishop g4 check. So instead, knight e8 was quickly played. And black is definitely on the back foot here.
Yeah, this doesn't look very impressive. Look at all that whole back rank. So now you can even go bishop f3, knight d5, and g3. Also positionally desirable, and then c4, kicking out that knight. So that's why Harika doesn't go for knight d5. She goes for pawn d5. All right. Knight g3, there'll be g6 probably. So where else can this knight go to be effective?
Good question. Yeah, I mean, well, we don't have a lot of options. I mean, none of the squares really look that good. Like knight c3, our knight is pretty well dominated by your pawn phalanx. Yeah. D2, it doesn't really seem like it's going anywhere special. I would love to pop it on E5, but it would be a very circuitous route. So maybe we should go knight G3 and induce G6 and just kind of like see if.
Yeah, that's a real challenge. You know, one of the most important questions in chess, guys, where do I want my pieces to be? Where is the most potential for them? And that one was a tricky moment for White because there are no amazing squares. And Vaishali, she winds up going here. Yeah, I mean, the knight is not actually doing anything there, so she can't be too satisfied with that. But, and Harika, again, using these like side pawn moves, Jen, that she's done in previous games.
That's right.
What is that?
Harika.
Is that about rook h6? I actually think it might be, Jen.
Or maybe potentially bishop g4 in some position as well.
Good points. Good points. Yeah, bishop g4. Definitely. Okay, so Harika is crawling out. Got a little bit of an edge on the clock. That's going to be helpful. And Vaishali still got her under some pressure here. Maybe trying to trade that strong knight, Jen, on d4, because that is definitely a beast for White.
Yeah.
And she goes for it. Knight f5. Good idea. So maybe knight d2, but then there's knight e3. Okay, so you see White still has that problem of the passive knight on c3. If they could have that knight on c5 would be much better. Actually, they might try to get a knight like that, but then there's also knight d4. This is a big idea coming up for Black. Unfortunately, Jen, it's not the middle game, so you can't just play knight takes d5. It's not an open system.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. Wouldn't you just love to play that?
You could just add queens to the board anytime you wanted. Although, I don't know, Black might like that too. With that king on c1. d4, okay.
Stopping knight d4. So showing that Vaishali was very concerned about that. Now she really wants to go here. How will Vaishali respond to this attack on her bishop? Will she just let it get captured and go knight a4 to c5? Or will she try to save it, which would be more positionally desirable, but you can't just give away the g2 pawn, I think. how to save this bishop. You don't even have that move, right? So she goes for the option of improving her knight. And of course, black will take that bishop. I do think so. But, bishop f5, rook e8. I think black should have enough for a quality there. Bishop g4, interesting move too. It's threatening to just win the pawn. Okay, cool. Bishop takes, pawn takes really improves.
Yeah, I like black there. And again, the time situation, not only the knight f5, I like black here because look at that rook on h2. And now you really see the genius of this h5 idea as the pressure is immense.
Knight king c7, rook e8. The king definitely will be good on c7.
Yeah, one good thing for white, though, is that she has found a nice square for that knight. So the knight on f5 is beautiful, but the knight on c5 is also not bad.
Yeah, but black, why black is better here, Jen? Because these pawns are actually, well, okay, maybe not d4 anymore, but h2 is definitely more of a target for white than anything that white has to attack in black's camp. Like, I guess like white is literally lucky that they're not just like immediately losing after rook e2. They can still hold that second rank. It looks precarious, but
yeah. You also have to worry about rook e1 check followed by rook h1. So white has to have a constant eye on these things for sure. Yeah, look at her tickling with these rook moves herself, but she does not want to trade rooks here.
Yeah, okay. So she doesn't want to trade rooks because her rook is better, but it's not so
unless we were able to get our knight to f1, but it looks like rook d1, king d1, knight e3 check. You can guard that f1 square adequately, right?
Yeah. So after rook takes, king takes, knight e3, there's a king e2. So Vaishali has 10 seconds. Like Harika's got to play for the win here. She definitely
does. She doesn't want to accidentally get a perpetual here. So I would just move the rook back to e7 or something.
Yeah, they've had this position a lot. Okay, so she needs to go and do just anything else.
But not rook b8 because that would fall in the knight a6 check.
Yeah.
I would say
I think this knight.
She should be careful to draw by repetition. I was saying maybe she should play g6 or something just to change the position. Because I'm not sure she wanted to draw there, Irina. I think she might have gotten confused about how many times it happened.
Oh, yeah. Well, they moved around a lot. I had no idea, how many times they'd repeat it. But yeah, I don't think that was intentional because it certainly didn't make that much sense. She had a lot more time, better position. Sure, it's not easy to win it, but that's where you got to try. So, yeah, I would say lucky escape here by Vaishali with that repetition. And pretty nice game by Harika. I think she did a lot of nice things in this game. Yeah. Kind of get from a difficult position into a better position.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. So we mentioned it before, Irina, but the 44th Chess Olympiad coming to Chennai, India, the biggest team event in chess, 100+ countries competing for gold. These two players right here are going to be playing for India A, in the women's division. And you, of course, are going to be heading up the women's Olympic team for the United States.
Yeah, we got a good team as well. We got a couple of new players, Jen. We got Begim Torhirjonova joining us, representing the U.S. for the first time at the Olympiad. She is originally from Uzbekistan. We got Carissa Yip playing for our team as well. And then we got some of our usual representatives like myself and Tatev Abrahamian and Anna Zatansky.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a great team. Wow. Well, I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Jen. It's good. Yeah, we're going to try to keep competitive with these very strong teams like India and Kazakhstan.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. And of course, India is a fascinating place to visit. So I hope that you also have a really great time on and off the board.
Yeah, well, I have a trip planned for a week. I'm going to be staying in India, going to the other side of India, to the state of Kerala, and I'll be doing some sightseeing there for a week, Jen. It's like going back to my roots, solo traveling.
Oh, nice. You're going to do a solo travel to what part of India did you say?
Kerala.
Oh, Kerala. Okay, so that's all the way in the south, you said.
Yeah, south. It's like, well, Chennai is in the south and Kerala is in the south. The difference is that Chennai is like southeast and Kerala is southwest. So I just gotta fly a short flight across the country to the other side.
And why did you decide to go to Kerala?
Well, it's just like one of the I think one of the most scenic places in India for sure. Like it's got all these like waterways, it's got like mountains. So I think I decided to go for the nature, right? Because I like to see beautiful things, right? And I'm not so much like a museum person. I like to be outside in the fresh air. So yeah, I mean, it was pretty close. It was I was deciding between Kerala and going to Goa, but then I was like, oh,
Goa,
yeah.
yeah, the beach. Yes. Well, by the way, we got a game in Irina. They haven't switched to D4 yet, so the verdict is still out on whether or not Harika is going to switch to 1D4 later in this match.
Yeah, I mean, their games are all going a little bit differently in this game. Like black played H6, not allowing white to play bishop G5. So now white goes for this bishop. Yeah, that is one of the ideas in this line. I recently showed that to a student of mine, that you can just go and grab that bishop because black has not made any provisions for it.
Yeah, gotta love the bishop for sure. Nice.
Mm-hmm. Maybe take it and then go I was going to say go take it and go C3, but she just goes C3 right away. Sure. Well, the bishop's not going anywhere. If it tries to go to A5, then there's B4 and you force it back. I was wondering what she's going to do on this pin. I guess, is she going to be playing H3, G4 and allowing a possible sack there? I guess there's a chance she will be doing that. Rook E1, bishop E3 is the idea, or what?
You just
Maybe queen D7, queen E7. Okay, there.
Queen E7 played, yeah. Knight takes B6. We grab the bishop, and now after H3, bishop H5.
Yeah, I guess you can't really push D4 because they can take, and then your D4 pawn is going to hang. Okay, so yeah, she's kind of staying in this pin. She's waiting to see where black will castle. That's really the big question for black. Now, she's a lot less likely to castle queenside once she saw this move A4. And once she castles kingside, then I'm sure H3 is more likely to happen because you don't have to be as scared about G4. So I like A4. Yeah, it's a tricky move.
Yeah, these are the types of moves that we've seen a lot from Harika. A4, H4, H5, A5.
Yeah, so black has to make a decision about castle. She goes castles, yeah.
And so now you're thinking that you might see H3 and G4.
Well, I was thinking, I don't know if we're going to see G4, but we might see H3 because G4, you got to look at that knight takes G4 sack. Then king H8, F5. So she goes B4. I guess that's fine. Don't see any downsides to that expansion. Although, what is she threatening? Does she want to go B5 and force the knight to A5 and go bishop A2?
I don't know about that. I don't think.
Yeah, B5, just knight D8, right?
Yeah, it seems like it kind of helps black more than it helps us, right? Because it stops us from having tension on that side of the board, and the knight D8, knight E6 could actually become a dangerous configuration. So B4, in fact, looks like she played knight D8 unprovoked, which goes to show how strong that relocation might be.
Yes. So now will she be going like bishop E6 or bishop H5? I guess I would just go bishop H5. Yes, white might go G4. Okay, so she went for bishop E6. That's fine. I suppose she wants to maybe play knight E6 and have a pretty solid game here. And I also think that there is this plan of F5 lurking in the position. You'll have to maybe pull out the king, move away your knight. And yeah, like even knight D7, F5. It's not a crazy plan. But she decides to just try to get this knight off the back of the board first, which I think also makes sense.
So yeah, bishop c4, knight c4. Now note that the rook on a1 is hanging, so b5 is a move here. But if b5, you are still adequately defending the a4 pawn. So we could just go knight e3 and then, it's not like you're winning any material there.
Yeah, definitely. It's an interesting move, b5.
But not played. Instead, knight to e6, bishop d2 on the board. Okay. All right. So
no more b5, no c6. So yeah, there you go. You see that move, king h7. So what does that show us? It shows us that she is interested in this kind of move. And even g6 here and like knight g8 is not out of the question. Or maybe just knight somewhere back right away. Because on queen f5, you can always play g6.
True. Queen f3 has been played and g6 on the board.
Right. It's a very typical idea. Now, normally, I mean, white doesn't want to wait around for this to happen. She wants to try to do something in the center once she sees black initiate that kingside play.
Yeah, that knight h5 also is a way to do it. Knight g8 or knight h5. Yeah. So you're saying meet that attack on the side with something in the center, an explosive idea, like getting ready to play d4.
Yeah, you see, she did exactly. She went for that, Harika. Exactly, very sensible. The center is the only part of the board where she can really get any play going. And now she's better. Yeah, she's better because there's no way this move is happening, and that's what black was preparing.
Yeah, I love that. And it's, the pure logic of chess, huh? Very nice. Yeah.
It's definitely important to apply fundamental principles when you play chess, like attack on the flank should be met with a counterattack in the center. Harika just went to those basics and found an effective plan. And right now, black is struggling how to defend this pawn, right? There's even pawn takes, queen g3, or will she just be going d5? No, I don't think she'll be going d5. I don't think that's a chess.
No, after all that work, and it's so sad that like she was trying to activate her position with the move knight g8 and play for f5, and instead she's ended up having to stick her queen on the square that the knight was on, and it's just definitely very disharmonious.
Well, let me tell you something, Jen, and to say something, a few words for black's position. I don't think black is doing that badly. The computer evaluation is a lot higher than what I would evaluate this as, because right now there's a specific problem. Your pawn is hanging. You got to defend it. Now, it's not that obvious how to defend it.
Right. So that, it's white's move now, right?
Yep. Yeah, white's move. And
so white could just take and play queen g3. Weren't you suggesting that?
But there's knight f4, right?
Oh, okay. So you can play knight f4, and then don't you have to worry about knight take e5?
Maybe that's the thing. Yeah, maybe that tactic is actually what is working here. But you see, okay, she went for queen g3.
Queen g3 without taking first. Okay.
Yeah, wow. It's just offering up a pawn on d4. Huh. Okay. Harika, go ahead. Show us the compensation here.
Well, she's played e5. That was her idea. I take it e5, d5, knight e5. Now threatening knight d7, which would be a devastating fork. So that was her idea, but rook a8 quickly played, protecting that key square.
No, Jen, I think I don't know what she exactly missed. I think she didn't find the very best way to play. This knight on e6 is a great piece. Yes, white's got some initiative here. I totally agree with that. But at the same time, yeah, there's a pretty good harmony here for black. Like the rook in the center, rook's connected, knight defending the king and f6, and this knight being really good on e6.
With 20 seconds left for Vaishali and 1:40 for Harika. This has been a pattern.
And there's been something amazing. There was something amazing that white missed. I don't know if it was rook e5. There was something really strong on the previous move. But okay, here we are. h5 seems interesting, trying to get rid of that knight. Sure, good idea. On rook e5, I suppose you still got queen c2 and you're surviving.
Yeah, two pieces under attack. So maybe just start with knight e3, see where the queen goes. And that, indeed, she did play knight to e3. 15 seconds left for Vaishali. She's played queen to f4. Nice. You can trade queens and the pressure makes a lot of sense. And in fact, that it will be a forced queen trade. There's no way out of it.
Yeah. Now, what about d5, Jen? I guess she will trade the queens and then go knight somewhere, knight d4. But she kind of had to go d5 because that pawn was just hanging.
That's right. Good thing that she was able to do that.
Whoa. She just let
Wait,
this knight get taken. I mean, that doesn't seem like a very prudent idea. That seems really weird. I mean,
oh,
okay,
well, there is that bishop on d2 hanging, right?
there is, but I mean, still, like the whole point that you're gonna like let my pawn in e6 exist. I mean, okay, I guess so. It seems rather strange. Well, what else can we do? What else can we do? I feel like you got to take because I mean, otherwise black just takes. Do we have anything else?
Well,
It wasn't such a good move. I wonder what was the best.
d takes e6 has been played, and now after queen g3, fg3, rook takes d2. And now with 25 seconds to 10 seconds left, it's completely wild. But that pawn on e6 is still alive for the moment. E takes f7, well, not anymore. E takes a7, rook takes f7. Knight c4, rook d4, all on the board, rook c1. The time is getting closer to equal, Irina, though, so I'm not sure Harika has the big edge there anymore. And the position probably is black better again. I don't know. More activity here.
Oh, there was a win there. I'm sorry. I checked where it was, but okay.
Okay. In our current position, we got 5 seconds left to 18 seconds, and it looks like everything's coming off the board. 3 pawns each. Who's even better here? Knight e5, rook a1 check.
Is black trying to mate after knight f2?
Maybe g5 though to try to kind of like.
Yeah, she wants to stop. Okay, she wants to stop knight f2.
She wants to play like h4 at some point.
Oh wow! Did she just get herself mated like Harika? Because she just helped.
Oh no, knight g3 is now coming.
Oh no, that's not good. That is not good.
Can we play knight f?
Whoa, she's just getting mated.
Can we play knight f3 and then?
No. There's no time for that. It's just checkmate. Checkmate. Wow.
Oh, there it is. Checkmate on h1.
Can I show you guys that previous game, if we can bring that up? I'll show you how white actually was winning in that critical position, Jen. And it wasn't so obvious. If our producers can help us find that game, the previous one. Oh yeah, we're looking for it. So give us a second, guys. And yeah, it was this one, I believe. Oh, no, that wasn't it. Oh, let's go back. Let's try again. There was a really cool tactic that Harika had in that position after Vaishali played knight f6.
Yeah, I saw that the engine went wild, but it was not clear why. And you're gonna show us.
Yes,
but, Irina, I'm still in shock because Harika had the time advantage, and I really thought she was gonna at least draw. But then out of nowhere, Vaishali just created that mating net, right? And unfortunately,
yeah, it was a really cool. It was definitely a really cool tactic. Really cool.
By the way, we have another
complicated. Yeah.
Don't have a Petrov in this particular game. We were seeing the Petrovs, but Harika switched it up to the Philidor, probably not wanting to go for quick queen trades when she's down 2 points in the match. I think she felt like she needed to switch it up a little bit. Probably a smart choice.
Yeah, we're looking for that. We're looking for that game, guys. So just give us a second. I can't wait to see what's going on here. But we do have the live position up while we look for that, by the way. And as I pointed out, it is a Philidor. This position, like white, of course, looks more harmonious, but black's position can be very wily here. So you don't want to get overconfident about your game as white. That can sometimes be a little different, right? They haven't had the structure yet in the match.
No, I mean the two blacks Harika's had so far, she's played the Petrov with early queen trades. So being down 2 points, she wanted to switch it up and play something a little cagier, and she's got it. I mean, white has a great game, harmony, center. But in a blitz game, sometimes that can be hard to convert those advantages. So a lot of times you get a time advantage here for black, and your position is very solid. So definitely a wily way to go about things.
Yeah.
But I love that dark squared bishop, Irina. That bishop on b2 looks really nice right now.
Yeah. So Harika has a little bit of maybe a little bit of pressure, but it seems like Vaishali has set up her pieces pretty harmoniously in the center with her rooks being on d8 and e8, and the bishops kind of pulled back so that they're not in the way
Mm-hmm.
uh, of the rooks. The knight on c5, putting some pressure on e4. I wonder if Harika will be playing f4 at some point, because that seems to be a very key idea in these positions. And there she goes with that move.
Oh, you mean Vaishali? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Harika played h5, which of course is her signature dish. Get a little bit of an attack there going. But I'd say the problem here is that white does have some potential kingside attack ideas. So h5 could become a weakness, right? Even if you were to get h4 in and like take on g3, queen g3, that would be staring down your own barrel. So I still like Vaishali's position, but sometimes these positions can be easier for black to play. So because look at this move, e5, exploding everything in the center. But what is it? What's the point? It's a pawn sacrifice, Irina, isn't it? After d5.
Yeah, it seems like a very weird move because, I mean, she has two knights in the way of this bishop, so it's not that easy to clear them out of the way. And after rook takes, I mean, rook takes is going to happen. Rook takes, queen takes. I really don't know what she's planning. Is it some sort of discovery on this rook? I mean, doesn't seem like there's anything that possible, but this move by Harika, wow.
Well, because I think after rook takes, queen takes, there might have been knight f3 or knight takes c6 because the rook on d8 is hanging, Irina.
Oh, this is
so just a simple also knight c6 just would have been good, yeah. So she couldn't do that. So she couldn't do that. So that's why she quickly came up with another idea, and instead of taking on e5,
wow, that's really cool, Jen. Because if pawn takes, queen takes, bishop d6.
Bishop d6, yes.
Wow.
Good point. And that's all force because you can't just go back because your queen on f2 is hanging. h4, what a brilliant move. Look at those.
This is a really, really nice move. I mean, because you're doing a big job of weakening the white king and just, well, I mean, I suppose, yeah, at some point you can already take because you're going to have a check on g3 coming up. So that whole tactic with knight c6 is not going to work. Yeah. And that, no, I like where this is going for black. And she also has a huge edge on the clock. I think Harika, she's starting to be more aggressive, and she does need that in this match to make up those 2 points.
Yeah, Harika's edge pawns, man. It's pretty impressive. She finds ways to make them work in every game. H4 has really caught Vaishali by surprise, by the way. And this is what I'm saying. Like, you get this beautiful position and you overextend with it, and then you're down on time. And it's the way that opening like the Philidor can be very wily.
This is such an interesting move. Like, wow. Like,
Vaishali.
Yeah, she just did knight b5, sacking a knight, getting this bishop opened up. I mean, this is fascinating. Definitely not giving Harika the initiative so easily.
Well, knight b5 now, I'm trying to catch my bearings here. So pawn b5, knight to b5 is on the board, and we play, so what's the point? Let's see.
The point is that the knight is controlling d6, so now you can just capture that knight, and after pawn takes, you can capture back without losing your queen.
I see. So queen b8, you can just play pawn takes f6.
Yep, that's the idea. Pretty cool. I mean, I see the computer gives some sort of advantage to black, but I do think, like, in a tough situation, that was a pretty nice find by Vaishali.
Okay, now what if we play knight h5 here? No, then knight takes c7.
Also go knight well.
If we play knight h5 right away, I guess knight c7, pawn g3, check.
Yeah.
The problem is that at the end of the day, you're also threatening my rook on e8.
Yeah, I guess I have a pretty good position if I just take your queen. And you take, I take. And the problem is, you have a problem with this rook. You also have a problem with that rook. So you're going to have to trade rooks, give up the open file. Yeah, I would say it looks, and you're down a pawn here as black. So, right, this doesn't look that convincing. So she's going to try to look for something better. But
This game, by the way, is extraordinarily well played, Irina. I'm like in
yeah,
shock here. Like these tactics, H4, Knight B5. This looks like a rapid game, not like a blitz game. Like
I agree, Jen. Yeah, this is really nice stuff by both players. There's a move like this. I look at this move, it's like I have no idea what this is, but it feels like it's the kind of move that you want to calculate as black. It's just that you need time to calculate a move like that because I'm trying to counterattack your queen. So if you take my queen, I take your queen, right? If you take my rook, I take your rook, which actually works out pretty nicely for black.
yeah, good point. So the tactics continue in that line, Irina, like the crazy tactics, but Queen B8 was actually played.
Yeah,
Rook B8, Rook D8, pawn takes F6.
Yeah, actually, I can see Vaishali just taking over this game and winning because this queen on b8 is really passive, and it looks like white is going to be up a pawn in these end games with like a really great knight, a great bishop, a great rook. Actually, every piece great. So I think that Harika, yeah, she kind of missed that big moment after knight b5 because queen b8 was way too passive for this position.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't blame her though. Knight b5, a real bolt from the blue in a blitz game after she just played that fantastic move h4. But now we are in the end game, and not surprisingly, her time advantage, Harika Dronavalli, is completely evaporated. Now she actually has less time than her opponent, and that's going to happen when you play such an accurate high wire middle game. But very problematic for her now, Irina. Less than 35 seconds. In fact, she's in the tank in this position, and she's finally come to the bishop e6. But yeah, this is down a pawn and down 30 seconds.
Yeah, tough situation for Harika because she could be going down by 3 points. 3 points in this match, and you can't even say that it's like that's that lucky for Vaishali. Like she's not really collecting these points by luck.
Well, I guess the one with the mate in the end, it's not, I wouldn't say it's luck, but you can imagine it certainly going the other way, right? And so
the one that we just, the one that's right. Yeah, the one that they just played, right? Oh yeah, Harika, yeah, she had better chances in that game, but
and this game is like really unclear. I would say that it could really go anyway. Maybe the draw is the most likely, but don't forget they both have 30 seconds left on the clock. So this is hardly in the bag now for Vaishali. One of the hardest things in blitz is technique, Irina. I just recorded a podcast of my ladies' night show, which you were on once, and I got a question from a girl about how she struggles with converting winning positions. And my answer to that was like, oh, well, you're a chess player, because every chess player in the world struggles with winning positions, and especially in blitz. It's very difficult to do so. In fact, on cue, as I'm talking about this, Harika takes a pawn, and now it could be any result.
Yep. So she won the pawn on h3 for free, Jen. And yeah, actually, right now, black is not doing so badly at all. She's totally fine.
All three results are possible here. Yeah. I do predict a draw, though. I feel like sometimes in positions like this, it's so tense that they find a way to like create a repetition, because otherwise it's just going to be like a mad scramble. So let's see if my prediction holds true there. I've seen that a couple of times in this match. That's why, although I have to say I like black from a practical point of view.
Yep.
At this point. I agree. So.
Because knight is trickier than the bishop, right? When you're in a time scramble.
Oh yeah. And the king is also more active. Look at that king move.
F5, okay. Will white take the knight? And I was just
okay. Well, of course, that's going to make it more drawish for sure. And,
okay. Black's winning chances have evaporated. I mean, practical winning chances.
But how to do it here? Are we going to see one of those draws by repetition? I think so.
C3. Okay. No. So Vaishali's trying. I guess I don't know. I don't know who can try here. No one really. Yeah, I think she's going to do that repetition. No. Wow, that's crazy. Really, like. They don't want to just repeat and end this game. No one wants to end it.
Well, I guess, there is that question of the format. 17 minutes left on the clock and she's up 2 points. So it actually does not.
Wait, why did she let this game? I mean, wow, it actually just got sharp. I mean, okay, it's still a draw, yeah, because white will just sack the rook after e3 and rook a8. Yeah,
But I see what you mean. It allows like the potential for blunders is always there, right?
Yeah. But
When you
now,
when you let it get so sharp, like for instance, like if a rook b8 landed on the board, the thing would change. But here it's going to be king versus king as both pawns race to the finish line. And in fact, it'll be a draw by perpetual, perhaps. Nope. King versus king.
king versus king. Yeah. So all right, this is who got lucky in this game, Jen?
Oh man, that was a great game. Very well played.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that's the thing. That was the crazy one where it looked like Harika was better, and then Vaishali was better. So actually, I guess you can say,
Irina,
it happened.
prediction.
It happened.
Your prediction. It's here. It's here.
Yeah.
So Irina, for those of you who are just joining us, Harika Dronavalli started the match with 1e4. She played it 4 times. Irina, who is famously a 1d4 player, a beast in the d4 opening, said at some point Harika is going to go back to her loved one, and here it is. You're right.
Yeah, so she did not, make it to the 3-minute. They still got a little bit of time in the 5-minute, and she's had enough. Well, she's down by 2 points, right? I definitely think she can still catch it up. She is faster on the clock than Vaishali, and I think that as they go into the 3-minute, that's going to start to play more of a role. We saw that actually in yesterday and the match a couple of days ago between Humpy and Katerina Lagno, where Katerina really made her comeback in the 3-minute, right? She started using her blitz skills more, and we might see that. But so far, Vaishali she hasn't really shown any particular weaknesses for Humpy to target other than the clock a bit.
Yeah. I mean, Vaishali is really playing some great chess. Now, from the actual positions point of view, this is not a classical Queen's Gambit. This is the Trompowsky. How do you feel about the Trompowsky, and how do you feel about this particular position?
Yeah, I mean, white just played Queen e2 to stop Bishop a6. So I suppose I would be feeling comfortable as white. Black is trying to play for this e5 move that we need to watch out. White also has the b5 square in these positions. So even if black plays c4, bishop c2, like it's not easy for black to get that queenside play. So I feel like the main idea that black has is e5. So I'm curious to see what Harika is going to come up with here. I mean, there are some crazy moves like g4. She really wants to go crazy, but I don't think she will do that, Jen.
I don't know. Could be interesting. I don't think so yet.
I mean, if she goes bishop g3, there's going to be bishop d6. And then you still can't establish that knight on e5. That's the problem for white.
No, she's castle kingside. So
they're both going to castle. And then the battle will be over that move. And maybe, I don't know if white can play e4, but white's definitely going to think about it. Yeah, I don't think black's going to go here just yet.
E4 or C4, some way to, show some kind of advantage in the center.
Yeah, black should castle. I think she really should just get on with it, because e5 before you're castled, I just don't really believe it.
Yeah, and she has castled. And now I expect Harika to either unravel with c4 or e4, and e4 is her choice, and now e5 would be a very exciting move for Harika. So Kelly quickly captured on e4 herself.
Yeah, I'm not sure, where she's going with e4. Like, I definitely thought this was a candidate move, but I'm not so sure that it really hurts black, because black now gets this open diagonal.
True.
And seems to have actually a pretty decent position without any bad pieces. Bishop g3. So she's trying to make problems for that queen. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now there's no more bishop d6, but there is. I mean, you could just stick your queen on c6. Yeah, because bishop b5 is not in the position. Queen takes e4, just grabs that knight.
Yep. You can't go bishop b5 because of the hanging knight. So if you take Knight takes, bishop b5. There's still queen e4. So yeah, right now, I mean, in the worst case, if black really was in the mood, they could just trade everything. And I'm pretty sure they're all right in that end game. I mean, there's some
Yeah, I think you're right.
pawns, but yeah, black will look into that kind of move, or not, Jen. They could just go rook d8.
Yeah, so despite switching to d4, Irina, Harika did not get that much in this game either.
Not that much. Well, she's switched to d4 and bishop g5, right? So she's still going with her like these kind of sidelines, which is not unexpected. Yeah. So what else are we threatening to do here? I guess what white is playing for, Jen, is some sort of eventual using this bishop against these pawns, right, in the end game. That's the idea. So black does need to watch out for that a little bit, but black has knight f6 to d5. That's powerful.
Yeah, it's pretty thin. And meanwhile, black has just played rook on f to c8. So you also have to watch out for the activity of my rooks, right?
Yeah, I think she'll be pulling back this rook very shortly, whether it's e2 or e1, but the rook is definitely misplaced here. Black will want to take, maybe even play knight c5, target that pawn.
Yeah, I like that. So cd4, you definitely don't want to take with the pawn and give yourself an isolated pawn. That would be a positional blunder. So after c takes d4, knight takes d4, you're saying you like us posting up on that lovely c5 square.
Yeah, I'm not sure that white is doing so badly there. They can have a knight on b5. I mean, to be honest, I do feel that this position is around equal and both sides can still play for something. It seems nice for black, but she has to watch out for these two dark squared pawns that are fixed and potential targets for this bishop, and always this nasty attack from the back.
Wait, look at this move though to start it off. Bishop f6, I like that. So now I remember I mentioned about the isolated pawn. She was trying to insist on an isolated pawn here. And after cd4, knight takes d4, knight c5. Look at that a4 pawn. It's funny, this is not the first time that Vaishali has attacked the a4 pawn of Harika Dronavalli to very strong effect. And I think it's a problem again, Irina, because if you play b3, there's bishop takes d4 and the b3 pawn hangs. If you play rook a1, well, first of all, your rook just came from there. But then also there's some issues with bishop d4 and knight b3, maybe.
Yeah, she has a really big problem here, Jen, how to defend the pawn. Like, I'm almost thinking just try to sack it. But the problem is, where is the compensation? Because black is so solid. There's no weaknesses in black's pawn structure. So you can try to activate your knights, but unfortunately, none of these moves make very terrible threats to black. And you could, I don't know. It just feels like we're down a pawn, to be honest. And she did go for knight b5, right? Because at least it's a fairly active move and she doesn't take on pawn weaknesses.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like if you are going to lose a pawn, lose it like in flames. Don't play rook a1 and like be groveling. Here she wants to get some activity for her pawn. That is a good strategy, especially in blitz chess.
Yeah, I think that knight is coming back to c5 like ASAP. Just put it on c5. Okay, no. Wow, really?
So rook d8 played instead. Okay. I guess she didn't want her getting into d7. That must have been the reason.
Yeah, okay. So she's still holding on because bishop c7 will be met by rook takes d2 and I believe rook c8.
Yeah, rook takes, bishop c7 was played. So yeah, we're expecting rook takes. And then you're saying rook c8 at the end there, and then if e3, you have like knight takes c3, and everything.
I also really like, Jen, that black has this move h6 while white doesn't. That is super favorable, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we're getting to the point in the game where you're gonna want to watch out for your back rank, and black having that move is very helpful. So I don't know what she's thinking about, but rook takes d2, rook c8. What is she worried about there? Yeah, I don't know. Seems quite okay for her. She's probably thinking, Jen, like, does she want to have two rooks on the board or one? But I think one rook is fine. Keep that rook passive, defending b2. Okay, so Harika goes king f1. Now what, Jen? How do we destabilize the situation here? Okay. destabilizing the rook. That's cool. F4. Bishop F6. Back to where she came from and just provoked white into that, which is not necessarily a bad move for white. She's got a big edge on the clock. And yeah, Vaishali's got 33 seconds to win this position. Do you think she's going to be able to do it, Jen?
No.
Yeah, you think Harika's going to hold on here? Okay.
Well, yeah, because 20 seconds now to over a minute. And I found that both players, when they're on the back foot, are very good at defending. I mean, that's something we've really seen as a theme in this match, that when a player is down by a little bit, they do seem to scramble up and often get the draw.
Yeah. She really needs to defend this game and keep it within 2, and then they're still going to have like one more game left in the 5+1. So yeah, I would like Harika to keep this match close, but overall, Vaishali just showing really good level of chess. So I never can really root against someone who's just playing good chess, Jen.
Purist.
She just plays good chess, so.
There it is, though. Look at these trades. So the pressure has been slightly alleviated now for Harika, who still has a time advantage. And after Bishop A3, she's held on to all her pawns. And that has got to be a huge achievement considering how the position looked a little while ago.
Yeah, although I'm still kind of concerned with Black's king being so amazing here, but I guess she's now going to have to go to G6. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, rook F7, great move, pushing you right back. And now it's Harika's rook that's more active. That's a turnaround.
Right, exactly. So, okay, King G4, King G3, right? So Black actually has trouble making progress. Maybe she's not going to really try, which is...
Yeah, you mean one of those repetitions. Although, let's see, looks like she is trying. She's still looking for it.
Maybe she wanted, King H4, King G4, Rook G3.
Yes, she's looking for that. Rook D3, King G2.
She's going to go H4, but now she has to deal with losing that pawn. So who knows?
And we have another draw. Okay, it is. I feel like these draws by repetition keep repeating, Irina, and they come up in these situations where it's not always 100% clear to me that the player who has the advantage is doing it willingly or not, right? But that is the nature of the beast in these blitz scrambles, as we've got one more game, most likely. One more game.
Yeah, one more
of the 5-1 portion.
They got 5 minutes left. People in the chat seem to be pretty happy to see us together as a commentary team, Jen.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah. They call us a commentary dream team, and the Eradicator 7-7 OMG. Shahadi and Crush, I must be dreaming. Well, good morning, as you have joined us in the tail end of the 5-minute portion here, where Harika Dronavalli is struggling against her compatriot, Vaishali, her teammate, next week in the Olympiad, in fact. But I have to say, the quality of the games have been fantastic. I'd say the one thing is, it does seem, Irina, that the player who gets an edge is having trouble converting. But like I said before, that's just chess. Very, very difficult in blitz, especially against top opponents, to convert.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is that one of the reasons this match is still within 2, I think, is because when Vaishali gets those advantages, she doesn't have the time to convert them, right? So Harika is able to use that to save some bad positions. Then here they are in the Petrov again, which we've seen a lot from Harika. She's suffered in this a little bit. She's also had some decent positions out of this. So they are not really changing things up when Vaishali is white. They've had this line pretty much, I think, in almost all the games, right, Jen? Except that one where Harika played that cool H4 move.
Yeah, and we've had some worse versions of this, I think, earlier in the match. But yeah, more or less. And Harika last time tried the Philidor, which I thought was a pretty clever choice. But I guess now that she sees the faster time controls in sight, she's just going to see if she can just end the 5-minute portion and use her speed skills to bring the match back to even, and then hopefully for a victory from her point of view, of course.
And do you know, I think they had this exact same position very early on in the match.
Yeah, I do, but G5 didn't play because I remember you were talking about a 4, but it wasn't G5, right?
Yeah, G5 is new. G5 is a Sicilian idea. So pawn takes, and I guess we should be expecting, well, knight H7 seems very passive. So I'm
maybe knight D5.
Yeah.
And then actually that was the game that the last one we saw black playing knight on F to D5, and this one.
Yeah, there you go. So Harika's found something active. Whether it's good, I don't know. The idea is very clear. She wants to take, open up her rook. I would say maybe even take with the bishop is not out of the question because the bishop is kind of passive. So now on pawn take, she can't take with a knight. She's got to take with a bishop.
Oh, but look at this move, knight E3. And now with rook D2, there's knight takes G2, forking the bishop on H4 and the rook on E1.
Yeah, I mean, that actually looks like Vaishali missed something.
Oh, that is a surprise move. I mean,
it's a big opportunity for Harika.
I mean, I have to say knight E3 is a bit of I can imagine that coming as a surprise because white's development is so beautiful. And yet somehow that square is open. It feels unjust in some way, but chess is not always just.
It's really interesting. So the computer bar is saying this position is equal despite this move, which means that white must have some sort of exchange sack here, Jen. I wonder what it is because you can't just go bishop H5 because there's still this idea on the board. So it's not so obvious to me what white should do, right? So it's funny. Sometimes the computer, wow.
Oh, knight takes D6. Okay. So if bishop takes D6, what on earth is going on? I mean, G6.
She's going for that, and she wants to make the bishop go back, take him, and drag the king into a pin and win the knight. So, this really reminds me of that knight B5 move that Harika.
I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. Well, I see. This is quite a find. So wait, so knight takes E6. Let's get our bearings here. So knight F7 is a threat, so we don't have time for knight D1.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to take the knight. Yeah,
has to take. Okay, and now you're saying
take on H6.
Take on H6, and then after bishop E7, bishop takes E7, king E7, and just move the bishop.
Yeah, but what about king D7 though? Can you just safely put the king on D7 because there's no bishop G4 check? And even if there were, I'm not getting mated because I have knight E6. So that is the position on the board. And now, what is the move if it's not pawn takes pawn?
Wait, is this the position on the board now?
Yeah, it is. Right now, white's thinking, and she hasn't captured on H6 yet.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Wait up. Okay.
So bishop takes D6 is the move on the board.
Oh, that's what I mean. Bishop takes 6, but she hasn't taken on H6 yet.
Yeah, she hasn't taken
because
yet.
G6 check is also a possibility because then after king D7, maybe we can play G7 or G takes F7 and get a little more wood in the fire.
I mean, right now, white is down a piece and the rook is hanging. So there is a lot of pressure on white. That's why she's really thinking here.
Oh yeah, but think about that.
I have an idea, Jen.
But Irina, check that out.
Yeah, what about moving the bishop somewhere? Can I do that or no? I mean, because my dream, I don't think it works, but my dream was that you take here and then I get some sort of check. Actually, it looks kind of interesting.
Oh, but Irina, can we show one line? If G6 check. So if G6 check. King D7. I just want to show a line where if G F7 knight takes D1, isn't it just mate on the board with bishop G4? Well, I guess you have to sacrifice your knight on E6.
Yeah, it looks pretty good there. She's definitely looking at lines like this, Jen, because she doesn't want to just let this king escape so easily, right? But moving this bishop somewhere also seems interesting, or G6, but it's so tricky for her to decide on all of this with this little amount of time.
And she did play G takes H6 check, king D7 on the board. And these ideas are still in play with bishop G4, by the way.
Yeah, the computer seems not to have liked that capture very much, maybe because it gives the rook a chance to capture back on H6.
Right, and also that other line we had with F7 captured, E6 was weaker. So rook D2 was just played.
Okay, there's no knight G2 because of bishop G4. So what about rook H6? Is there just bishop G5? Yeah, I guess there is. That's annoying for black. So black needs something else, something to help out the king. Okay, so there's a few interesting moves, Jen. There's knight E6, which, you know, after I capture, yeah, your bishop on C8 is still terrible. There's knight D5. Ah, bishop F4. Well, that's way better than what I was looking at. That's a beautiful move. Look at how we're
bishop F4, very nice. And she's got a 2-minute time advantage too. And we've seen a lot of these, Irina, but this is a pretty complicated position to be down to 18 seconds left. She has played king to B1, and she's still down that piece. Knight to E6 on the board now. And now knight takes G2 is a real threat because you no longer have bishop G4 check. So she's going to need to watch that. She's going to figure her way out of it, maybe G3 or something.
Yeah, well, she's down a piece actually, and her compensation has run out, right? I mean, it doesn't look like she's really saving that pawn. She has no time. And I think that Harika will pull it to within 1.
And by the way, knight G, you can maybe play knight G2 anyway. I mean, she didn't bother, but possibly you could have. Bishop F3, play knight F5 now. And now we still are attacking that rook on G2 and the knight on H4.
And then just maybe king D6. Yeah, just get the bishop out.
Now it's too easy because Vaishali just has no serious counterplay and she's just down a piece. So nice game. Harika looks like very likely to win her first game of the match.
Yep. Wow. I can't believe it. They've made so many draws, Jen. She hasn't won a single game.
I know. Isn't it surprising? I mean, she's played a lot of good moves not to win a game. So
that is crazy. I mean, because you don't normally see someone get to 2.5 points by 5 draws.
D2. Bishop D2 could have done it, right? And then bishop C3, but that's okay. Other ways to win. Oh, I guess rook E2 would have saved it for a minute. Yeah.
So what is Harika doing? Oh, rook F6. Why didn't she just play bishop D5 or something? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, she's good though here. She's up 2 minutes on the clock and a piece.
A4. Put the pawn in A4 at some points. It's a good positional move.
Well, look at this. She's just going to win that pawn for free.
Rook D2 is checkmate, John. How about that?
Ah, yeah. Forget about the pawn.
Oh, come on, Harika. Come on. Checkmate at 1.
But there's another checkmate. Bishop E4.
Yeah, bishop C4. There's king E4, though. She doesn't have that one yet. But okay.
Bishop C4. Yeah, there was king E4. Right. Yeah.
She put it away. Really nice for us because that means they're only separated by 1 point as we head to our 3-minute portion. Jen, yeah, we have some great chess in front of us today. And we'll be back, guys, in a couple of minutes with a 3+1.
See you guys in a minute. everyone, and welcome back to the Women's Speed Chess Championship. We have a sizzling match for you today as we are watching two compatriots face off, and it's been a great match so far. Harika Dronavalli versus Vaishali, as we see them here on screen. Vaishali up 1 point, but Harika with some momentum, having just won her first game of the match.
Yeah, that was a big win for Harika. I think that's going to give her some confidence to try to turn this around in the 3-minute portion. We do know that she is the faster, more practical player. Vaishali is more of a maximalist on the chessboard. And of course, as we move to the 3-minute portion, that favors Harika. And I do expect, Jen, that we're going to see a turnaround in the match in this portion.
So you expect Harika to get it done. I mean, yeah, she is incredibly impressive, but Vaishali as well. And I think she's aware. I mean, she knows that she's got to play faster in these portions. So we'll see if she's able to force herself to do that. You mentioned as a maximalist, you just want to play the best moves, but you're not allowed to do that in 3-minute or blitz chess.
Yeah.
It's painful, isn't it, Irina? You feel her pain.
Oh, I definitely always I empathize with the maximalist, Jen, like Humpy, like Vaishali, because, you know, I'm much more in that style myself, right, than the fast practical player, which is, you know, why I don't really have like amazing results in blitz. But let's take a look at the game. They are in a Nimzo Indian right now.
That's right. We've got our first traditional D4 opening. So last time was a Trumpowski, but this is a real D4 opening, Irina. You've got to love this.
Yes, and she goes, Harika, for this early A3 move, getting the bishop pair, which is still one of the rarer lines of the Nimzo, and does allow for some aggressive play by white. Although right now, if she goes bishop D3, where the bishop normally goes, this pawn is going to be under attack. So I wonder what her plan is. I don't think she's going to sack that pawn, is she, Jen?
I don't think so. Not yet. Not yet. So, I mean, you've always been really good at these openings, Irina. The Nimzo Indian. Yeah.
That's right. I should have more to say, right? As this is the kind of stuff that I've played my whole life. Right. Well, let's see. You know, maybe bishop E3, but the thing is, and then there's queen A5, right? So she goes D5. Okay.
But you don't usually play the same-ish, though. You're usually more on like the queen C2 or the bishop G5, right? Yeah. What is that called? The Leningrad or the queen C2, one of the main lines. This same-ish, not exactly your cup of tea.
Yeah, well, you know, I have played pretty much all lines against the Nimzo, so I have played this move as well. I mean, it's not one of the main moves for white. I've always liked the idea of forcing black to give up the bishop, playing with a big center and the bishop pair. There was some famous games, you know, the 1953 candidates tournament in Zurich, I think, in this line. I think Ava was playing black, if I remember correctly, and kind of did a big counterattack on white as white tried to attack on the king side. So it's a little bit of a strategically risky line for white to get these doubled pawns, right? So there's an attraction to it, but there's also the strategic risk that you got this damaged pawn structure. And so I never adopted it as like a regular thing. It's just too risky to play regularly, but I have, you know, of course, studied these structures. And we have a close position right now, Jen, where black is trying to transfer their knight to F4, but there's no pressure on these pawns. Sometimes you see a knight being on A5, attacking this pawn, and we don't have that here.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of times we have to give up that pawn on C4 with knight coming to A5 and bishop A6, queen D7, and white goes for the attack, black wins a pawn. But with black not having that opportunity here, it's hard not to be a little bit excited about white's position. But yeah, that knight is coming to F4.
Yeah, I mean, H4 seems a little bit surprising to me because, okay, now she's basically forced into bishop F1. She's just not going to do anything else. Like, there is no other move that white will play here, Jen. That's my bet. In any case, I'm very confident that bishop F1 will be played and then like maybe knight E2. But it's a bit weird that she didn't really do anything other, you know, something instead of H4. Like, what's the point of H4 if you're going
King
to.
F2, you lost all your money, Irina.
I lost.
This is why you're not.
I went all in, and now I'm left without any money. Yeah.
All right, anybody who took Irina's bet in the chat, you got to collect now. King F2, very logical move actually, because this bishop on D3 is not a piece that the knight on F4 wants to take, and I guess White didn't want to castle after playing H4, so
Yeah.
rather harmonious. In fact, even though of course it's a kind of bizarre move to see in the middle game. And
yeah, I think in general, like even letting the Black take the knight, I think Black would be fine, because the more pieces Black trades, the easier it is to play this slightly more cramped position. In fact, Jen, I don't understand what I'm just seeing. Wait, she didn't take the bishop, so now White still has the bishop pair. Yeah, she's not going to let that bishop get taken. She definitely will pull him back and go G3. So
G4 now. Look at the attack going. Bishop takes E4.
What? Okay, G5, E5, I guess. All right. Harika, she's given up the beautiful dark squared bishop, but she's going for the pawn, and Black can't really hold on to it.
And what did you just say? You said if Black plays G5 here, you think White will just play E5?
There's going to be like a capture and E5.
And then E5. Yeah. And then H7 will be hanging. Oh, that's problematic. If you can't play G5, you're just losing that pawn.
You know what I think she's going to do, Jen? I think she's going to have to go for like Queen E7, Queen E5, and then G5. She will probably try this kind of dark square strategy.
Yeah, try to sacrifice a pawn but get control of the dark squares. But she's played it.
No, Vaishali.
She's done it, and oh no, it's going to be an explosion after E5, and there it is. She's played rook F7.
What are you doing now? You just can't do this kind of stuff. It's like not even a good practical decision,
Oh, look at rook H6, a beautiful outpost, and rook H1, and everything's coming at you. Ooh, baby. Queen C2, you can't even protect that pawn.
Yeah, because I'm bishop H7. Well, maybe stop Queen E7, bishop H7, rook H7, Queen H7. Okay, White still wins. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to.
Doesn't really defend the pawn because you can still take it.
Queen E7 has been played though, and Harika does not take on A7. She just plays A4.
Yeah, because the bishop is dead, so I guess I can't do anything.
And now we can take on H7.
Yeah, we can. Rook H7 looks good. Okay, bishop H7, sure. Bishop back to D3. I expect, she can look at Queen F5, sure. Maybe Queen F5. Go Queen F5, Harika. There you go. Bishop G6, Rook H8. Let's go. Let's get this over with.
Rook H8 check. There it is.
That G5 move, I'll tell you something, Jen. That move stands out as the first truly bad move that Vaishali has played in the match. Like, she hasn't played any bad moves, right? But of course, there's mistakes. But I'm telling you, that move accelerated her demise by a lot in this game.
Yeah, I know. You did not, you cringed, you viscerally cringed at that move as too easy. Sometimes blitz is not just about fighting, but also making it very difficult for your opponent, even when they have a great position. And in the blitz portion, they were great at that. But as the time control speeds up, it's harder to do that. By the way, Harika is going back to her favorites. As the time control gets faster, as we see a traditional French defense on the board. But I think Vaishali is going to be okay with this too. By the way, Vaishali has lost 2 games in a row.
Yeah, so Harika has equalized the match for the first time. This is what she needs. As they're playing this 3 minutes, try to take over the initiative here before they get to the bullet. 3 minute is a very tricky time control, Jen, is what I found. I found that sometimes players who are not, let's say the fastest, they actually do fine in the 5 minute and the bullet, because, in the bullet, you don't think, you just rely on those instincts, right? But in the 3 minutes, the part where it's confusing, because it's you're not in bullet yet, but you got to play faster, but you can't play as slow as the 5 minutes. So it's it's a very tricky thing to get adjusted to.
I love that you say that, Irina, because I feel like that's something that people used to say about rapid chess. But the state of chess has gotten so much faster that now we're saying it about 3 minute chess.
Yeah.
Love it.
these speed chess championships, they highlight these 3 time controls, and that one in the middle, yeah, it's the tricky one.
It's the middle child. Yes, it's always difficult for that middle child. And here we have it. Rook to c8 played. Black is up a pawn, by the way, guys. So this happens a lot in the French. White sacrifices a pawn and to try to get an initiative. And also notice that it's very difficult for Black to develop her kingside and castle. In fact, the move a3 is partly designed around that. Like if you think about playing bishop c5, we're going to hit you with b4 and you're going to go back. So actually, how do you get the bishop on f8 and the knight on g8 out? Like the engine might say that this is winning for Black, but I got to tell you, in a blitz game, it is not easy because your king is stuck there on e8.
Yeah, and the most important thing is don't spend too long. Harika's falling behind on the clock trying to solve these opening problems. That's not a great situation, and especially when you spend a lot of time and then you make a move that the engine still hates. Yeah, that's not the best scenario. I just would have played knight e7, just developed my knight and been like, all right, Vaishali, the ball is in your court. You make a move now.
You develop your knight, but it's so hard because like you can't develop your bishop on f8. So I can understand why Harika was like, oh, and that's exactly why these pawn sacrifice lines, like they make a lot of sense for blitz chess.
Yeah, 100%. Take the pawn, Jen, because now the knight's not coming to c3. I mean, okay, what else can you do? I suppose bishop c5, you can look at, just take the pawn and play bishop c5. It's fine. Rook b1, it's not a big deal. You go back to a7, you play knight e7. So that's what I would do, like, with that amount of thinking time. Just take it and play bishop c5.
Yep, there it is. And we're going to see that bishop c5, a threat on f2. That feels good when you're down a pawn. I mean, you're up a pawn already.
We're a couple of moves away from getting things together. Just knight e7 now. Okay, interesting. Prophylactic move, stopping knight b3. All right.
Well, we do have rook b1, which gains a little tempo. But the problem now is your plan's pretty clear. Knight e7 and castles.
Mm-hmm. White needs to do something very quickly here, I think, to have compensation. Well, I suppose she could go something kind of slower and just say, okay, Black, you've got an extra pawn, but I am just going to kind of build up my position. Also, g4 is, and then kind of like that is an interesting plan as well, because it stops knight f5 ideas. I don't know, g4, would you look at such a move, Jen, or is that like...
I probably wouldn't myself. I'd be trying to get my queen to g4. I really want my queen. I know it's very difficult to arrange, but I would love to get my queen to g4 somehow. That's a little bit of the quandary here. That if I could have my queen to g4, your position would actually be pretty unpleasant because I'd have all sorts of attacking ideas. But the queen is actually hampered by her own pieces here.
Yeah, the knight in f3 not letting her do that. Okay.
Yeah, and without the queen, how do we attack? That's a problem. So
I don't know who this move is going to help. c4 was a double-edged move by white. In a way, you're trading off your isolated pawn, but on the other hand, you might be giving up squares to Black's pieces.
So castling now has happened. And, one traditional idea in this type of structure is to play something like bishop c2 and queen d3. But you can see it's very slow right now. I mean, I don't see a lot of other ideas, to be frank, but...
Take, Jen, and then if knight takes, then maybe queen
e4, you mean? Yeah, and then, that's true. But, okay, so pawn takes d5 here right now with the idea that if knight d5, queen e4, and we get our first queen attack of the game, which is very exciting because that is what has been holding us back.
Also, you might take with the pawns. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, I think that's
the pawn.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Taking with the pawn has a lot of negatives, but it definitely has that positive. Thank you. All right, I got my coffee.
Oh, nice, Jen. Nice. Yeah, I made sure to make myself some tea before we started this portion. Coffee was before the 5-minute and like tea for the 3-minute.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you gotta know about all the best ways to caffeinate. Yep. I love coffee.
Queen G3. Okay, so white, I would say this is okay. Actually, I like this before a lot.
I like that move. Try to trade pieces off.
This knight isn't really going anywhere. And yeah, she's like kind of trading everything while this knight sits on h4. So I don't really see white's big compensation. I guess she just got the pawn back.
That's key. But then look at this clever move, rook c3, counterattack. Love to see it.
Whoa!
Wow.
Wait, what? Didn't she just lose it? Oh no, she didn't lose a piece. She captured.
No. It was a trade. It was a trade.
Oh, she's got 3 seconds. Okay, Harika has got to be merciless here. Bishop g4, rook d4. Okay, all right, that wasn't that merciless, but okay. Oh, king f2. I don't know about that. Rook d2. Oh, rook b3. Oh, who's winning here? Because I didn't want her to allow this f5 move.
Oh my God, white might be winning. Rook c7.
Yeah.
It's so crazy though. 4 seconds left, but with that
Bishop
increment.
c4, bishop c4. She's got to like. Wow.
Okay.
Six, good move.
What's going on now with rook c8 check? No, I think it's okay.
All right. Okay, rook f6. Finally.
Rook a8 mate. Rook a8 mate.
That's a mate. Wow. Big win for Vaishali with just a couple of seconds on the clock. That was impressive.
Oh my God, and it was so well played by Harika. Oh, it was such a well played French, but
yeah, that's a sad game.
Time scramble.
And she had more time too, right? So that is a bit of a heartbreaking game.
But you know what? From a competitive point of view, I don't hate it, because if Vaishali had lost that game, it would have been 3 in a row, Irina. Yeah. And then we might have seen a wipeout based on the momentum.
Yeah.
Now I think the chances of this match going to the bitter end are very high. I think, you know.
I want it to be a very bitter end, Jen. Like maybe them like tying the match and playing more. That would be good.
You don't get that often. Like, what percentage of the time, I wonder, in speed chess history have we seen a match that's gone down to like the last 2 games? I mean, off the top of my head, I would say like 1 out of 4, maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, I haven't done this.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot. I would say maybe even less. Yeah.
Well, like, maybe the last 4 games or 3 games. Like, but the thing is, 4 games. If somebody has to win 4 in a row and that's the only way that they can win, I don't think that really counts per se.
Right.
Like something where it's like a 1-point window for like the last few games. It doesn't happen that much. You think it's about 20%. Maybe the stats guys will look that up at some point. But I think that it is a privilege when you get that, because it's relatively rare. Right?
Yeah, actually, you know, in the last match between Humpy and Logno, it was actually really close. It played into that scenario because it was decided in the bullet in the last couple of games. And it was literally like they were playing their final game. And if Humpy could win, then she would be within 1. But she would be like, the match would end though, because she just wouldn't have the time to start another game. Right. But it still got like really, really close in that bullet.
Yeah, that'll be nice to see. Yeah, I saw some excerpts from that. I was looking at the chess.com wrap up by Vanessa West. So yeah, and you called that one with Dina, right?
With Dina, yeah.
With Dina Valenkaya, yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So here in this Nimzo, Jen, it's a little bit different from the other one because the knight did go to a5.
Yes,
rather than g6. Yeah. So
I like that a lot better. She got smashed last time and she didn't get any counterplay. At least this time, if she gets checkmated, Irina, she's going to be up a pawn.
Yeah, I wonder bishop G, like the computer really didn't like this h5 move. I wonder if it's bishop g5. Yeah, that refutes it. And then f4 and trying to really capitalize on this pin.
Oh, good point. Yeah, h5 was a bit too ambitious. With the playing on both sides of the board here against those 2 bishops is just tricky to pull off, isn't it?
Yeah.
Note that we can't take on c4 because there's always a queen a4 check, right?
Yep. So that's important.
You would have to castle before doing that. And now h4 has been played, but knight
he's going into the lion's den with this move, Jen. That pawn isn't coming out alive. No, well, it's not even just about that pawn. Those dark squares are looking tragic, really. I mean, what do you do here? King f8? I mean, I'm at a loss for what to do. I don't know what to do. Knight g7 is such a serious threat. You know, g6, you don't want to do that. That just weakens your dark squares way too much. Yeah, I don't know what she's doing in this game. I feel like Vaishali, she got that win and somehow maybe she didn't really get adjusted. Sometimes, you know, you just have games where like you just play badly. And like this seems to be like one of them. Like she's not castled. I don't know why she pushed up this pawn. Like these last couple of moves have been like, what has that been about? Okay.
F4, what a great idea here. If gf5, fe5, pawn e5, rook f5, and you literally cannot defend the knight on f6, which goes to show you how bankrupt black is on the black squares, on the dark
This is an
squares.
amazing move, right? I wasn't even thinking about it.
What a great play by Erica.
Yeah, instead of knight h4, just f4, let's go, be aggressive. And also look at the pressure she's putting on her on the clock. Great position and big time advantage.
I love this. I love this. And you know what I'm worried about here, though, from Vaishali's point of view, is Harika seems to have found her poison here with the Nimzo. So how is Vaishali going to adjust?
Yeah. I agree that Harika has found a line that's working out for her. Already 2 good positions in this line. And now they're just at the beginning of the 3-minute, right? So that means, Vaishali's not going to get a rest to try to like fix her strategy. And it's really hard to fix something on the move.
It is hard. I mean, there's those breaks, but 3 minutes, very tricky. Okay, so rook g8, bishop f6 has been played. It looks like we're going to head back to a tied match because after rook takes e5 check, I mean, you're busted. I mean, we're gonna bring in the big gun with queen to h5, and it's gonna be checkmate. You got no way to protect against queen to h6 checkmating.
I wonder if we're gonna see rook g6, queen h8, like rook g8, bishop g7.
Bishop g7 mate. What a pretty mate, Irina. But unfortunately for us, we didn't get to see it on the board because she did resign, did Vaishali, and now she gets a crack with the white pieces, which, I mean, honestly, earlier in the match, the white pieces didn't seem like much, but now that she's really struggling against d4, it means a lot not to have to play black.
Yep. So the 3-minute has not been super kind to Vaishali so far, but she's been doing, and the French has been like still not an area where Harika has been like, let's say, super comfortable out of the opening, even though she went back to her like main forte, the French defense. But I think Vaishali has still been putting some pressure on her in this opening. We'll see if this game goes any differently. What do they do here, Jen? Is it like g3, h4, or is that a common plan?
Well, she's just played rook to e1, and I've always found these ideas of putting the knight on g6 to be like a little bit confusing because, normally in the French, I'm used to them putting a lot of pressure on me, like getting a knight to f5, pressuring the d4 square as well. But it does really cover a lot of key squares.
Yeah, I mean, I think we will be seeing this kind of stuff in the game, but for now, white isn't trying to prepare for f6 because that's actually another really big idea for black with both of these.
Exactly.
Attacking e5. So that's why she put the rook here and pulled the bishop away. Although I still think this is on the agenda. Like, why can't you go f6 here? Like after white makes a move.
Yeah, I think she will try to play for f6 at some point soon. I completely agree. It's hard to stop it long term. And then when we play a move like g3, f6 or f5 could become even more dangerous because then, look at our F file, it's vulnerable. It's vulnerable indeed.
She went for g3.
And do we have to do it right away? I mean, we can also start with queen b6, pressure d4 a little bit. But no, she's played f6. Okay, she's played f6. And here you see we got to worry because you don't want to allow black to take on e5 and have all sorts of possibilities of exchange sacrifices, of getting a bishop to c5. No. So what we'll usually see here is e takes f6. It's better to take it and at least maintain that strong point on d4 as well as the e file. So takes an f6. I was thinking rook takes f6 might happen, but she did with the bishop. Now knight c3, queen b6, and now d4 is under a threat.
Ooh, I think she missed knight a4 because I don't know if that was intentional to allow the knight to come to c5 with a tempo.
Oh, good point. Yeah, queen a5. But after knight c5, is there a knight d4 type of tactic? Or do you have time?
Depending on where this queen is going to go, right? So there is a tactic like that, Jen. I agree that she has to calculate that. I mean, knight c5, knight takes d4.
Yeah, knight c5, knight takes d4 looks kind of good, actually. So she didn't do that right away. So she will, but knight c5 will be on the menu later.
Bishop g2 makes sense. Just maybe fix up the bishop with the d5 pawn to make e5 a little bit less likely. Because actually, black would love to play this move.
E5? Yeah, that's my rule of thumb in these positions in the French. If black gets e5 in and I don't win, Usually it means that the trend is bad for me. But okay, for now, e5 can't be played because we could just take it and play queen takes d5 check, right?
Yeah, I wonder if she's going to play like rook d8 because trying to give herself better chances to play this move. There she goes. Yeah, so this move shows us that she is interested in e5 and exchanging off that backwards pawn, which is the main weakness in her position. And if she can do it, still, knight c5 still seems to run into this, right? That's a major, major tactic on the board that black is relying on. So now white plays h4. Every time I see a knight on g6, I'm always like, where's my side pawn? So
yeah, totally.
Board. And e5. All right, so things are getting critical here. What happens on h5 by white?
h5, we got to think about the possibility of e4, right? Although I think takes
I don't think you can do it.
Right? Yeah, you have that in-between move of taking on h7. So that didn't look appetizing. So black has just gone back. But the cool thing about knight e7 is it protects d5 in this line.
Okay, looks kind of annoying for sure. Is she going to be like taking bishop takes and then moving the queen maybe to a5? Yeah, I guess that's what I would do in this amount of time. That's probably what I would go for, Jen. I don't think she has that move because she loses that pawn with check. So I think she's going for that. And queen a5 seems pretty reasonable as a move for black here. There we go. Attacking the knight, protecting this pawn. So now the ball is in a white's court. Where is this knight going?
Well, we could start with rook c1, maybe?
Yeah, rook c1, there's a little problem this knight is hanging. So she goes knight c3, and okay, bishop c6. So white has a positional advantage here, and I'm sure that the move h6 is something that she's going to want to throw in at some point and basically play against the weakness of the king. Queen d3. Huh. So that's okay, nice solid move, d4, knight e4, sure, makes sense. I like the queen here. Well, yeah, black is under pressure for sure. She has a little bit more time, but things are about to, gonna get very heated here, Jen.
Queen b4 play quickly. I like her quick play here. She's gonna need those precious seconds later. I mean, geez, I don't know who I'd pick here. I think I'd pick Harika because of the time, though. H6 just played. Gosh, the position is just so wild. She could take on b2. I mean, I probably would just take on b2 because, I mean, look, your knight on c3 is hanging, right? Or should we could start, if we start with g6 and...
Yeah.
Oh, knight g6. Oh, another.
Yeah, we're thinking about that move too. I mean, you gotta calculate this stuff. But I guess, if white does that, they put themselves into a pin. And now what? Rook d7. Yeah, what is going on with this bishop? Where exactly is he supposed to go?
I'm not sure I like bishop c7 unless, there's a tactic here.
This is going to get crazy. But it looks like it's pretty good for black because white just has a lot of stuff hanging after.
Exactly. White has a lot of stuff hanging and everything looks very compact from black's point of view. Very easy to play in a blitz game.
Yeah. Definitely feels easier. But luckily for white, that bishop is protecting the pawn. Wow. Still holding on here.
Oh my God, is it going to be a perpetual? I don't think Harika should go for it.
He's not going for that perpetual. There's no way. Rook d8 is going to happen.
No, she did it. She did it.
What? She went for the perpetual. Okay.
Yeah.
A little surprised.
Surprising because Vaishali had so little time as well as a position. So the match retains its tension as it's 6-6 as we're midway through the 3-minute portion.
Showing some confidence, actually, Jen. I think she just thinks that, look, the trajectory is going in her direction, and she didn't want to risk it overall. Oh wow, they changed up.
Look at it. Look at this. Vaishali was tired of getting smashed in the Nimzo Indian, and so she switched to the Grunfeld. Well, I've had some success with the Grunfeld. I do like this decision, just because Harika was having way too much fun. You don't want your opponent to have that much fun.
Yeah, how is this pawn supposed to be defended? Okay, I guess it is defended. Oh, there we go. F5.
And look at this F5 move, very iconic move in the Grunfeld, with the idea that sometimes you were countering the center in an unexpected way, But okay, you
Yeah,
got
what's
to
the
watch
move
out
here?
for, you got to
Is
watch
it
out.
e5? Is it castle? Is it pawn takes pawn? Like, I honestly don't know because
Or
white has such a big decision to make here.
there's also sorts of tactics with queen b3 and knight g5 that you got to watch for.
Yep.
They're
So,
really kind of typical stuff.
yeah, I think after bishop f5, probably the first thing she's going to do is just castle, get the king to safety. All right, I think it's a reasonable, practical decision by Harika, just kind of going for. Well, I'll tell you. Oh, wow, interesting by Vaishali. Not bishop takes, but pawn takes. Okay, so she's
Very,
going to go f4.
very surprising. Queen d2. I don't think I love queen d2 because I wanted to get my queen
I'm
to
going for
b3.
those tactics, Jen. Can we just go f4, change up the pawn structure, take on d4? I would seriously look at that.
Yeah, f4, good idea. F4, bishop f4, knight takes d4.
I mean, just because black's pieces do look really active, and I don't think these pawns are like such a major problem, the king looks fairly safe. So I would seriously look at that because if you don't change that, I do feel like, okay, she did go for it. There we go. We're going to see it. If you didn't change the structure, I could see how black could eventually, have some issues. Right now, white has issues with the rook.
Right. We could play rook d1 here, and she's done that. She's done just that. Rook to d1, not allowing any funny business.
Yeah, so now are we threatening to take the knight? Yes, we are. So I'm expecting knight takes f3.
Nothing works. Nothing like rook f4 quite works, right? You just play queen f4, and then if knight c2 check, you have king f1.
Yeah.
So all of that seems fine.
Trade, pull the bishop back, and well, white has some pressure, it seems like, in that endgame, actually. So I still prefer white a little bit, but black will need to find a way to neutralize this. I think black's got to trade the queens. You just got to do it because, I mean, your king is weaker than white's, right? So, yeah, the endgame is appropriate.
Yeah. And this endgame, I mean, looks like chances for both sides. I mean, they actually, considering how complex the middle game could have been, they got to this position pretty quickly, and so I expect we'll see a pretty well played endgame here compared to some of the endgames where you get it with like 10 seconds left on the clock and it's just completely anyone's game.
Yeah, I think this pawn is very difficult for white to defend, actually. And I like Vaishali's bishop e6 move, right? So Harika just castles. There's going to be a trade of these pawns. The A pawn, of course, is going to try to run up the board. So overall, I like what Vaishali is doing. Harika's move is, slightly surprising, but wow, she doesn't try to capture this pawn. I guess she thinks she can always do it.
Yeah, I guess it's always in the air because if you play rook b8, we have bishop f4. Rook takes f3, an exchange sacrifice.
e6. Oh, nice.
Well, because now you don't take the b7 pawn. So now we have two connected passers in the endgame, which is really difficult to play against from a practical point of view.
Very smart decision by Vaishali, completely changing the nature of the game. Like bishop d5 is definitely going to happen. I guess bishop e5 is what white is going for, but okay, interesting. She doesn't even bother closing up the rook. She just says, okay, I'm going to be pushing those pawns. Well, is that simple? I mean, at least that's some counterplay for white.
Right, like you're saying like b5. Well, I think the key here is that after b5, if you try to bring the other rook into the game, we have bishop c4 shutting it down. That's the cool thing about having the extra pawns is that not only are they attackers, but in a weird way, they're defenders.
Yeah, also I have king h2, rook g1. I was just thinking about how to get that rook into the game. All right. Well, I think white will find a way to a draw, Jen, at least like with that kind of threat. So I think it's not so bad for white from a practical point of view because they do know what they need to do here. I think it's actually harder for black to play.
Well, I was a bit surprised by this part. I thought that maybe b5 was going to be played, but I mean, hey, that pawn is really fast.
Yeah, now this rook is coming in. That's like 100%. It's coming in. And then black needs to make sure they don't like somehow lose. Maybe white will only have a draw. Oh, because there's rook g8. There's rook g8. She needs to be careful. She doesn't want to trade a pair of rooks.
So if rook g8 check.
Yeah, now rook g7. I think we're
But then now there's a draw, right? Rook d8 and rook g7. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting draw. Kind of a shame because the game was so interesting, but I think certainly Harika doesn't think it's a shame. That's a relief, I think, once you're facing the barrel of those two pawns. But conclusion, big success for the Grunfeld, right, Irina? She went from getting demolished to,
Nice,
actually being on the better side there.
Well, you know what I like about this match, Jen, is actually the players are showing some good decision making. And I haven't always seen that in these Speed Chess Championship matches. Like sometimes you see someone, it's like not really working for them and they keep sticking to the same opening way too long. I feel like Vaishali, okay, a couple of games, she suffered in the Nimzo, she switched to the Grunfeld. Harika wasn't doing so well with E4, switched to D4. Different lines. We're seeing a lot of versatility in the opening, and the players are making adjustments. And yeah, actually, as Sugir says, he likes Vaishali's braveness. She's not boring at all. Yeah, this match is not boring at all. And, they're tied with each other, Jen. It's 6.5, 6.5.
And I also feel like they're raising the level because they're teammates and they both know that, they're playing side by side in just a week. And they're both showing how good they are, which honestly can only be good for the team morale. I've always thought, and this is something I write about in Chess Queens, that contrary to common lore, whether it's poker or chess, I'm actually feel like I play better when I'm playing against somebody that I like or that opinion matters to me. Because that's what champions do. You play well when you're under pressure, and there's more pressure when it's like a friend or like a teammate. So I feel like this is, to me, like a very iconic match.
Yeah, no, it's a great match. I think it's just like, it's living up to our expectations for sure. Harika, the more experienced player, playing against like her up and coming teammates on the Indian team. And, these players are just really closely matched so far. And look at this. This is Vaishali switching to D4.
Yes. You were talking about switching, and Vaishali was doing pretty well with E4. I felt like there were a lot of good games where she was on top, and sometimes Harika was able to pull it out a draw regardless. But hey, this one, she's looking to potentially trap that bishop on G6. If we play for H4, though, it seems like you can pretty easily just get away from us with a H6. So
I would probably play like C5, Jen. I guess there's other ideas, but C5, knight C6 looks very healthy. And I mean, I might just give you, should I give you that pawn and play bishop F5, or maybe just go H6? Yeah. Okay, so she goes for the pawn like that. Sure, that's fine. Bishop E4 looks like a very obvious move for black here. H5. Okay.
You played H5. Nice.
Yeah.
She never takes an opportunity. She never misses.
Yeah, I think I will really notice that, Jen, about Harika. Like next time I get to play her in rapid or blitz, like I will be looking at those side pawns from her.
So now what? If pawn takes H5, bishop takes H5, and the pressure on the E5 pawn is very real.
Yeah, I don't think this has been an awesome switch for Vaishali so far. I think, okay, she switched to D4, but she went in for the London, which I don't know how well she knows it, but it feels like a little bit of improvisation. Might have been actually not the best idea because she wasn't really doing like badly against the French, right? So I think there was reason for her to try to continue in that as well.
Right. So there were a few openings. In the beginning, it was Petrov's and the Philidor, and then in the 3-minute portion, it was switching to the French. But, I can understand, like, playing against the French is exhausting, right? Yeah. It's so strategically rich, and then the tactics erupt as well. So maybe she just wanted to relax a little bit more for one game. But on the other hand, this game is not particularly boring or styed as well. So
yeah,
she's gonna have to keep fighting here. Queen to D2 played, and now what's going on? If HG4, Rook G4, Bishop H5, trying to get the pawn, what happens there? Well, we're not gonna find out because Harika's played the move Queen B4.
Yeah, what is that move about, Jen? Because white has C3. This seems like a weird move, Queen B4. I was looking at that square. I thought about the knight going there. I wonder.
Very odd indeed. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe she wanted to induce this, thinking that now white can't castle queenside as comfortably.
I mean, maybe. Yeah, it's a weird move. I think she should just go back, maybe.
Queen
yeah,
But she's down 30 seconds, so she spent like a lot of time with that finesse, which could come back to haunt her.
Side. It's time to go castling. Yeah, there we go. Harika back on track. I wonder if F6 is going to be a part of her plans. I actually think, yes, I think that F6 is a very reasonable move, Jen. And after pawn takes, try to play for E5 and get the big center.
I mean, I think that Vaishali is going to castle queenside as well. Like, where else are you going to put that king?
Yeah, I think she's going to castle, but I suppose Black can also do this kind of plan. Not bad at all. The knight on E4 feels quite fine. Maybe there's no reason to play F6. Maybe she will just go knight C5. Vaishali, a long think, decides to create some problems to this knight. Bishop C6, though, I might just take your knight on F3. Yeah, she'll take an F3.
Oh, yeah, good point. And that keeps your pawn structure pristine. That's a problem indeed. And then you got to worry about the move G5, Irina, because the move G5, if you put your bishop on G3, G4 will hang.
And she's in trouble, Jen. She's in trouble.
Yeah.
Black's taken over. Knight C5. It's your ABCs. Improve your pieces. Knight E4, king not castle. Knight E4, just tempo, just do it. Then think later. I guess knight D4, queen D4, there's C5. Yeah, so she needs a short calculation to make sure queen D4 is not dangerous. And now what? You take. The king is still in danger. G5, yeah, I approve of that move. And rook H3. That's like simple. Okay, F6 is good too.
F6 looks great as well. Look at a classic example of a good knight versus a bad bishop here. That knight is just rocking, but it's really also a good king versus a bad king, as the king on E1 has found no respite. She has traded that one advantage for the other, so she took on G3. But her majors here are just are really way more powerful than White's discoordinated majors.
Yeah,
right?
She has given up some of her advantage, so I can see like Vaishali saving this, but with 2 seconds, it's still really hard. Like for sure, Black has the initiative. Like no doubt.
Black has the initiative, but you're right. Vaishali has defended really well against the pressure from the pieces. Pretty impressive. Yep. Considering she was just looking like she was about to get mated a few moves ago.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Rook H1. Okay, King A2.
No, maybe Harika won't win this anymore. What's up with Queen G3 though?
C5 I would put on the board. Okay, she didn't.
Queen G3. Okay, that makes sense.
She could have won a pawn.
She could have taken an F3, but she's going for the tactics.
She's trading the queens, really?
Well, yeah, that's not going to be very exciting.
Okay, rook E5. Yeah, this looks like it's petering out, actually.
Yeah, petering out indeed. Wow. Some great defensive play there by Vaishali. I did not think she was going to survive this.
Wow.
I think she will now. I mean, 3 seconds is a lot more when you're not staring down the barrel of 3 major pieces trying to checkmate you.
Wow. What is going on? Okay, still a draw.
Yeah, all roads lead to a draw as there's these wholesale trades, but hey, they might keep playing.
Yeah, I feel like Harika could have really capitalized a bit better. She had like such a big time advantage, such a great position. I think that trade of knight for bishop was a little early. Like, sure, she had some advantage, but she could have milked that way more, Jen. She even had some move rook H3 that I was showing where she could try to take that bishop and totally destroy White's pawn structure. So, yeah, this is...
yeah, and then we put that...
just petering out into a draw.
I also think psychologically, if you think about how scary that knight is on E4, you don't want to make your opponent happy in chess. And think about how happy you are as the one who's like in pressure on the position in the clock. When your opponent plays knight D3, it's like you exhale, right? Mm-hmm. And you don't want your opponent to be happy. That's the opposite of what you want. So that psychology is like so prominent in poker, and it's definitely a less of a part of chess. But it comes into play in situations like that. But I got to say, amazing defensive play by Vaishali. It's just like, they're both very hard to knock out, even when you get a great position against them. And that's why they're here in such a stage of the Women's Speed Chess Championships.
And we have another change up in the opening as we get a Queen's Gambit, classical Queen's Gambit from Vaishali. We got the Carlsbad variation. And
she got the memo. No more Nimzo.
She got that one. She tried out the Grunfeld once, and she's like, "Let me try something else." Okay.
Anything but the Nimzo. I have to say,
Yeah.
those were probably the two worst games she had in the entire event, and they were both came from the same opening. So I
Right.
like, some people are stubborn and they don't stop, but Vaishali, like, she gets the message, and
Yeah.
that's a good skill.
Yeah, now knight g7 is the move, and then bishop f5. You try to trade the light squared bishops because your light squared bishop is worse than white's. Will she take? Will she take on f6 and go maybe even f3, Jen? It's kind of interesting, but bishop f5, yeah, you can consider that. Bishop f6, okay, there's so many ways to play this position. So she just goes for f3. Okay, yes, that makes sense. So then bishop f5, you have e4. And now if you go e4, they take, and knight g4. So that's a little bit of a problem. You might want to go king h1 or bishop f2 here.
Just gear up for an e4 move later. It was white's choice, so she played rook on a to d1.
That's a good move, supporting the eventual advance of this pawn. So now, yeah, I feel like, of course, I like these positions as white more. It's a lot easier to play. And yeah, the ball is in Vaishali's court. Like how like she goes knight f5, bishop f2, doesn't really accomplish much. Yeah, b5, I was thinking it is like a typical move in these positions, but is it good? I don't know.
Yeah, because now when I play the move e4, you have an extra weakness, right, on c6. Like, could be annoying. And a big question is, if e4, b4, can we get away with just playing e5? But she didn't play e4 to start. I'm sure it's on her menu, though.
After king h1, Jen, after king h1, white will be ready to play e4. She doesn't want to do it yet because she has to watch out for that eventual knight g4. So there has to be a little bit more preparation going into this plan. But king h1 now, like 100%. Let's see. Every time I go all in, Jen, it's a little dangerous, but I'm still going all in on king h1. Let's go, Marika. King h1. Make me some money.
You take king h1, I take the field.
All right.
That means I get all the other moves but king h1. Okay. Like, what do you guys like, chat? We win. Chat didn't have a chance to answer. It's always good to take the field in blitz, I have to say. Well, not always. If there's a capture.
H3, that's true. It is very similar to king h1. She tries to prepare e4 and without allowing knight g4.
Yeah, it's very similar to king h1, trying to pretend like that was king h1. Yes, but e4 here is certainly on the agenda.
Yeah, she's gearing up for this move, trying to build up in the center, go forward with those pawns, and Vaishali in a tough situation. I don't think she's that comfortable. Yeah, I don't know who would be comfortable.
Your pieces are a little jumbled. Like, I don't know where to put my bishop on c8. Because a lot of the squares I would put it on, it's like it's interfering with my knight squares. So I just find myself a little confused here. And I've never played these types of openings for black. So I know that experienced players in these lines have a bit better of a sense. But for me, not being a Queen's Gambit declined player, I'm confused about what I'm doing with my minor pieces, and particularly my bishop on c8.
Yeah, and also hard to just come up with something effective against this plan. Like, she's definitely going to do it now. Yeah, I should have saved my bet for this moment, Jen.
Yeah, e4, that's right. And that was I mentioning, like, with the bishop on e6, like, yeah, it's good because now we can put our rook on c8, but it also interferes with some of our other pieces. Like, now our knight can't go to e6.
Okay, watch this. Oh, I was going to say, you know what I was going to say, Jen? I was going to say e5, knight d7. And for some reason, I was like going to suggest this move. All right, that was my idea, like to stop all these kinds of trades on f5. And of course, it's probably going to get wild after c5, but it was interesting. It's not what happened, though. She played knight f4, a6, and
rook e1, rook on f to e1, and then we have a bishop b4 played.
All right, so she's still way better. She's up a minute on the clock with Vaishali really struggling to even find a plan because, bishop b4, a3, bishop f8 was not exactly...
No, but it's better than taking on c3. I was like, don't take on c3 and give her those two beautiful bishops with the dark squares.
And Harika's like, Irina, you were right. King h1. You called it.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, 100% that she would play it at some time of the game. Changing the turns there. Queen a5 now. Well, I was thinking White might want to play e5 at some point. Put the question to that knight on f6. An e5 here might happen. Any move. It could happen anytime. That's a problem. You're gonna be constantly on the lookout there.
Yeah, okay. Knight h5, interesting move trying to trade. So Harika just trying to play fast, right? Like her position is overall better. Okay, e5. I think we'll be playing e5 and g4. Come on, Harika, do it. Oh, could you have done it? Or was there no, I think you could have done it. Wait, what's going on?
Oh, what's going on now? Pins galore. So bishop d4, there's queen d4. But what if we move the queen to b2? Bishop takes d4 on threat. Bishop e5 now. Taking on c6.
Unclear. I have
Thank God our king's on h1, Irina.
Oh yeah, thank God for that. Right.
Otherwise, knight f3 check would have won the house. 2 seconds left.
Vaishali is preparing some sort of kingside attack on the dark squares. Harika needs to be a little careful. Whoa. Just
Queen
gave him a
g3.
pawn.
Look at how fast she is. Rook f1.
Wow.
So wait, rook e3, rook d1, h5.
I mean, Vaishali is doing amazing. Just like hanging on here with 2 seconds.
Hang on. That's what you got to do.
Or is it rook d8?
Wait, are you going to do rook d8 and then queen?
Yeah, I was trying to. Oh yeah, something like that would have been interesting, but she just lost that pawn.
Oh, that's not good. You do not want to lose that one. Oh, queen.
Wow.
Queen is going to e5. Oh, okay.
This is so tricky, so difficult for both.
Good on Vaishali for not like losing this with 2 seconds on the block. That was remarkable.
Amazing defense. Yep.
I mean,
f5 somewhere maybe. I don't know. Really difficult for like both players, I would say. f5.
Okay, f5. Get that f5 in. Okay. She did not.
Okay.
You got to be careful here for both sides.
Wow, it's amazing that like this so much of an attack on this pawn.
She's dying to trade queen.
Trying to get the queens off. At least like there's no danger for her. She's still not winning. She's still not winning because this bishop is excellently positioned.
No, she's not winning. I think there's very likely to be some kind of draw here. Rook f2 is something that you got to watch out for, though.
Oh, wow.
Rook f2 check. She saw it. Thank goodness.
F4. She's going to go f4. She's going to try to win.
I mean, either side could win this. All 3 results still possible.
h5.
Because now there's king g4 and you can pick up the pawn that way.
Rook g1.
Okay, rook g2, rook h2. We're going to get a draw, guys. A draw by perpetual.
Oh, and no. Vaishali doesn't want it.
Boy. She knows she can do it here.
She should take it. She's got like no time.
She should take it.
Oh, she didn't take it. What is going on here? How is White winning, Jen? Like, is it?
Well, I don't know if White is winning, but I think I would have taken that.
The bar was like really in White's favor, but no, this.
No. This is not a good one. I don't think because
Harika might just be losing, but I don't know. Actually,
maybe not. I mean, look at those pawns.
Yeah, look at the
be anything.
Pawn.
She could be losing, winning, or drawing. That's my expert commentary here. Yeah. It's so wild. It's hard to see what's going on.
Wow.
But unfortunately, no, this one looks dead now. Oh,
of course, better chances for Black to win. I'm assuming Black is going to win here, but.
Oh, nice one. Bishop c6.
King f3, maybe king f3.
Yeah.
I like the king on g4.
Not that easy to make progress here.
King e2, sure. Bishop, okay.
Oh, rook e3 doesn't win the piece because you still have to protect the pawn.
Yeah. But now she just kind of holds because the king being on c7, she can't win. She needs to bring the king back. Wow, this is such a tense game.
And this is burning a lot of time from their clock, Irina.
Yeah.
Irina, they might only have one more 3-minute game.
Yeah, that's right. They might have only one more. Right now they're tied. So they're like, Harika is desperately trying to hold on here.
And if they have just one more game in the 3-minute, it could be 1 or 2.
Oh, take the pawn. All right. Well, Harika's going to get the draw. All right.
There it is. A draw and very, very close. Very close here. What a game. This is going to be close. It's probably going to be 2 games. I don't know, though. There's a 1-second increment, 7 minutes. It's gonna be on the wire whether we get 1 game or 2 games, Irina.
That's right. Well, if they play 95 moves, then we play only 1 game. But if they play like a regular game, maybe we'll see 2 games. Vaishali back to the French. She hurt us, Jen.
Yeah.
That D4 stuff isn't really working out, so she goes for the French Tarrasch. All right. Harika trying to trade off that light squared bishop, I guess. Whoa, 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 mouse slip. No, it's not. Wait.
Wait, what happened? What are you talking about? Knight 94 pawn for bishop.
Like, isn't that a mouse
God. Oh God, you scared me.
I know. I was like, is she hanging her knight?
Oh God, you got to go back to that moment. Show us what's going on here, Irina.
Yeah, well, 94 pawn takes, bishop takes, and the rook is trapped. And I just thought she was hanging her knight because I was so surprised by that move. But no, it wasn't. It wasn't a free knight. And that was a pretty cool trick by Vaishali, I would say, to get her knight to G3 and open up the dark squared bishop. And so here we are.
It's hard, man, to catch my breath after that last game, Irina. Woo.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody's saying,
we're giving us such a tense match, so close.
FIDE says, what a match. Wow. Yeah, 2 seconds left at the end, and we're just keeping it going. Amazing. Totally incredible.
Yeah, A4, interesting move by Harika. Of course, the pawn can't be captured because the bishop hangs, so she's trying to get some space on the queen side. Maybe for an eventual like knight c6, knight a5, could see that. She's not castling. I guess she thinks it's too dangerous to castle and her king is just safer in the center, which I can totally sympathize with, because if she castles, there's going to be some maneuver of the knight in and pressure against h6. And in fact, Jen, I do think that, this knight h2, g4 maneuver is pretty interesting and allowing f4, f5 as well.
Bishop e3 just played. Okay.
I like white's position more.
I always find it annoying when I have to give away my light squared bishop in the French, though. So I think this idea of Harika is clever. And there's a lot of lines in the French where black is able to trade that light squared bishop. And usually the question is, how much space, how much time have you given up to make this possible? That's the big question here. Now, Queen B7 is a move I don't quite understand. Maybe she's trying to. Let me see. I'm trying to understand this move. So Queen B7.
She wants to go to A6, right? It's kind of a typical idea, trade the queens, but she's not going to really be successful.
No, because now Knight E1 after Bishop D3, we're going to take with a knight. Yeah.
F4.
And look at that. And we're going to get our queen to G4. Remember, I mentioned earlier in another French game that we're often frustrated about not being able to get the queen to G4 because there's a knight in the way. I've seen lines like this in the French where white goes in the most circuitous routes to try to get their queen involved, like queen D2 to E3 to F4, like crazy stuff. So to be able to just get this queen to G4 in one graceful motion, very, very good sign for Vaishali.
Can I just say that black is getting killed here, Jen? Let me just
having to go back to F8. Yeah, just having to go bishop F8. Wait, are we allowed to castle? Castle queen side?
Black can castle queen side, but the thing is that white has so much space with these pawns, right? They're just really, really cramping black's position. She can't move anything. These knights are completely doing nothing. She has to watch out for F5, a huge idea. I mean, you can castle queen side, but F5 is going to come. And
I know. That's the problem. It's kind of like you can castle, so you're not going to get mated, but you're still going to lose all your pieces.
Yep, that's the thing. Yeah, something has gone very wrong. And I think that started from that queen B7 move, that it just wasn't that productive. And it's funny, Jen, I did want to say, I wanted to make another bet that white's going to win this game back before she played queen B7. Like back when it was still kind of even, but I've neglected to say that out loud.
No, Queen B7 was a really instructive moment. That Knight E1 move is fantastic because it allowed us to get our queen to the killer square and maintain a defense of the D3 piece.
Is she going to go F5, Jen? Oh, wow. She
very beautifully played.
Yeah.
And it's not that often that you get to learn something positional from a 3-minute game because it sometimes goes by so quickly. But if you just look at the difference in the queens, like the queen went to A6 and it's doing nothing, and the queen on G4 is a goddess. Yeah. It's just that's what it's all about.
She's the kind of queen you write about in your book, right, Jen?
That's right. This chess queen made it to the main text. The queen on A6 might be stuck in a footnote somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah, no, there's a nice sacrifice by Vaishali, kind of reminding me of the kind of sacrifice that Harika did in one of those Nimzos, right? With F4, F5, actually very similar piece sack. And well, this looks like a bit more like a Sicilian, where Black's king gets stuck in the center and White crashes through on E6. And Harika thrashing about with the knight. Well, I suppose that knight will be captured, and then we'll just take an F7, and then you'll resign, right?
Well, I guess you're trying to. Okay.
Well, no, I don't think so, Harika.
You can just play E6 check, E7 check, discovered check,
and the game and play another one.
2 queens.
Yeah, make sure you get another game in, Harika. This is just time to resign. There you go.
Yeah, she will get another game, 1 minute and a half. So
yeah, that's important. Okay, so she just went down by 1. That was a really bad game. Vaishali made a good decision to go back to the French. And all right, Harika, we gonna see a Nimzo? Oh, is she really going into those waters again? No, there's no way. D5, yeah.
Yeah. Very, we talked about how Harika is practical, but this opening decisions by Vaishali are practical. Sure, like you mentioned, she's a maximalist, so sometimes she gets into big time pressure. But in terms of picking her openings, she is not stubborn, and that's a really good quality. That. I feel like a lot of times, one of the things I mentioned in Chess Queens is that a lot of times people talk about ways in which women aren't as good as men. And what about ways in which women are better than men? This kind of like flexibility and ability to admit that you're wrong. I feel like that is a more prominent female trait. So I gotta give a shout out for that.
Yeah, well, I think in general, when I think about like one of the differences between men and women is, I think there is such a thing as female intuition, Jen. I don't know. I don't feel like men have that, but women definitely do. What do you think about that?
I think that's a good point. I think women have to be a little bit more aware of their surroundings, just for like safety reasons sometimes. So the possibility that they might notice something that other people miss, which is particularly important in certain games like poker. In chess, because chess is so abstract and self-contained, it might be like a little less relevant, but of course it comes up in chess as well. But I love how close this match is, says BGH 13. I agree. Will Harika actually even the score in the blitz?
I'm willing to predict she will. And
well, this is a good position. I mean, it's a good
position to do it from, Jen. And this is her, Vaishali, she didn't really. I guess she ran out of places to run. Right? She wasn't going to go back to the Nimzo. She didn't want to go to the Grunfeld. So she went to this line again, where she didn't really get a great position in the last game. But here she is again, trying to slightly differently counter this this Carlsbad system. And it looks like White is still ready for E4, right? It's prime time for the pawn.
E4, yeah, it's our time to shine. I mean, listen, Irina, it's hard to play against D4. I mean, Vaishali's having trouble coming up with the line because the Queen's Gambit is a heck of an opening. It's not just a good Netflix series. It's also perhaps the best opening in chess. I mean, I'm going to admit, Alpha Zero, a lot of these top engines really think that the Queen's Gambit and D4, C4 is very hard to equalize against. It's not that easy to come up with one.
So if we go E5, Jen, knight D7, where do we go from there? Black wants to play C5, but I think, probably F4 still makes sense. Maybe what else does she think? Oh, no.
You don't like that. No, you wanted E5.
You don't like no center. What? Come on.
Irina's in pain. Yeah, I don't like that move because it's like my F pawn looks a little weird when I don't have my E pawn.
I mean, I get it. She wants to try to play against the bishop a bit. I get it. And if the queen takes, there's bishop c4, there's some initiative. But yeah, the bishop is not great, but I just feel like this is not where you normally go for your big advantage as White in these positions.
But she does still have a minute extra on the clock. Maybe her advantage isn't what Irina wanted.
Yeah.
But still, when you look at the position and the clock, you've got to think Harika's on top here. And let's see if she can make it work. B5, queen B3.
Yeah. How about rook C4? That's a little too dreamlike, isn't it?
That's kind of exciting, but I don't think she'll
Yeah,
do
it's not
it.
going to happen because the bishop will open up, but he's still not strong enough on that diagonal. If the pawn were an f4, Jen, then 100% you could look at that move. But here, you're just not getting enough for the exchange. So black is, slowly crawling out of this.
Bishop d6 just played.
I wouldn't be surprised, Jen, if we saw this move in this game. I'm not willing to put all my chips on this, but like a little portion.
All right, a 10% bet size here, 10% pot.
Yeah.
Queen g5 has been played, and now what's gonna happen?
Look, Jen. After rook takes, bishop takes, pawn takes. Now you're gonna start having ideas of bishop f3.
True. Good point. Good point. So queen g5 sets up Irina's little bluff here.
Yeah, this was so bad trading off the space. Like you just can't do it. Like look at these pieces. They're coming in. Knight h5, knight f5, right? Like there's actually real play against your king. This is not like make-believe play by black. This is actual play. Like white is totally on the defensive.
Yeah. Irina was very disturbed by that pawn takes d5 move. The thing about chess is that so many of the mistakes that come in tactics are because of exchanges, but so many of the positional mistakes are also because of exchanges. So, always, whenever you're exchanging anything, a pawn or a piece, it's a moment to slow down, not just tactically, but also positionally.
Yeah, really interesting that black just decided not to take this pawn, Jen. I don't know why she didn't like that move, but it did seem like she could take it, but I guess she didn't want to lose that bishop in the trade. So she went back to f6 and yeah, she doesn't have a lot of time. Wow. Oh, Jen, look at this move, rook e4.
Nice. Oh my God, you were predicting it. I feel like you get partial credit, Irina.
Thank you. Yeah, now black is completely winning. She's got 14 seconds on the clock, but she just
you could take it to a 2-point edge going into the bullet.
Will she do it?
I think yes, because she's been really good at playing quickly when she's not down on time. But we'll see. We'll find out soon.
There's still a chance for Harika because this bishop's not the best, and Harika is good in the defense, right? So she's got 50 minutes against 5 seconds. I think she's going to save this, Jen. I will bet that she will save this game. Play bishop h2. Bishop h2. Trade those bishops. Your bishop's bad. Harika trying to trade.
And she does it.
You're going to make a draw.
But
you might even flag them.
What about bishop?
Knight e2, queen e3. Okay, knight e2, maybe. Knight e2, knight f4. It's the kind of dumb move I would look at, knight e2. Okay. Trying to transfer her knight somewhere. Okay. Be careful about that square.
Careful
your rook is hanging. Your rook is, your rook is hanging.
Rook e3 really makes me nervous here.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like this.
Galore. Wait, what's going on? He takes me 3. He just hung a rook.
All right. We're getting 8.5.
Oh my gosh. How'd she hang the rook? Was it a mouse slip?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. She just didn't see the queen. I mean, the queen was sneakily standing there on d1, Jen. You can totally see how she might not notice that.
I thought she was going to win it. Oh, I thought she was going to win it.
Yeah. She could have gone.
But in a way, this is just good for the audience because it means that we've got a buzzer match going in to the bullet. 8.5, as close as it gets. Going into bullet, it is going to be decided in the fastest time control in the Speed Chess Championship.
Yeah, I'm so excited about it. Yeah, I just love how close this match is, Jen, and how well both players are playing. I mean, well, you might say like giving up a rook is not so well, but overall the level of chess is really good.
It is, and Vaishali, of course, disappointed about that one. Well played game, but unfortunately hung that rook at the end, and now we are going to go on a quick break as we're going to be back very quickly to conclude this Speed Chess Championship match in bullet chess. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our coverage of the Women's Speed Chess Championships. I'm Jennifer Shahade, and I'm with Irina Krush, and we have a tied match. But before we get back to that, let's talk about the play-in phase of the Chess.com Global Championship. It is here. Every Monday and Friday, watch as title players and Chess.com members who advance through the open qualifiers battle for a spot in the field of 64. It's Chess.com's biggest prize fund ever with $1 million up for grabs, and you can catch all the action right here on Chess.com. But Irina,
we're back at their boards, Jen, right?
Yeah, they're back and ready to go. I mean, probably a good time for Vaishali to take a break because that was a pretty dispiriting loss going into this 1 minute. But hey, right now, even score could go either way. What does a Smarter Chess prediction say?
Yeah, let's see who's favored to win the bullet section. It looks like it's Harika over Vaishali by 1 point. It is really a very tight prediction, right? It could go the other way, but my prediction, Jen, is that Harika will pull this match out.
All right, I'm predicting that it's going to be either a tie or Vaishali is going to win. I think that's fair.
Yeah, you can take those two predictions.
I get two, you get one. There we go. But, you know, it is interesting that the Smarter Chess prediction says that, even though Vaishali has a higher bullet rate in it. Huh.
Yeah,
I guess it's because, you know, there's a 1 minute in increment, so maybe that ties into it as well. Or there's also the, so, you know, it's not exactly a pure bullet, right?
Mm-hmm. All right, so here we go. They're off to the races. Vaishali back to the French now with knight c3, not knight d2. Yeah, you can tell that these players study the openings a lot because of that versatility in their play. They can just make those changes. And let's see Harika going for some kind of less well-known line where she gives up c5 pawn and then develops the knight d7. Well, so far she's built up a 10-second lead on the clock.
That's a good start in bullet chess. And we have seen that Vaishali has gotten some nice games in the French, but in this case, Black seems to have availed herself quite nicely. Getting rid of the beautiful light squared bishop was really helpful.
Yep, I agree. And now she's just going to castle, play b5, I guess. b5, rook c8, okay, sure. Queen b6, she plays without b5.
But look at this. It looks like Vaishali's ready to get c4 in with the bishop on d7 under threat.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of nice. That could be nice.
B5, how about queen b5, Jen? Oh, knight a7. Okay.
Nice move. Bishop b5 under way.
Okay, all right. I like what Harika's doing here. Knight takes and bishop b5 coming. She will definitely play bishop b5.
Well, there it is. That bishop, usually a lemon in the French, not looking too shabby right now.
Castles. Oh, queen c7. Okay.
She's ready to go queen c3.
Why does she want to go queen c7? That is,
I guess maybe she wanted to.
Yeah.
I felt like she wanted to play queen c3, but we'll see. Okay, how do we attack here? Queen g4 is on the board, but we only got one piece attacking right now. I mean, she could play bishop f4, but the king has already arrived on h8, so bishop h6 not a threat yet. But maybe a rook lift or little rook e3, rook e3 action.
That's totally pointless by Harika. What in the world is she doing?
Bad timing for queen c3 as rook e3 simply gives her a free tempo to get rook g3 and the checkmate threat in. Oh.
Yeah, that was really weird that she did that, because I think she's very close to getting mated with a pretty simple attack. But okay, I mean, she's trying to hold on.
But f7 is hanging. Just grab and go.
Yeah, everything.
And now bishop h6 is a threat again because you can't take rook g8 mate or queen g8 mate. You pick.
Bishop h6. Yeah, that looks powerful then.
You can't even
exchange.
She didn't do that, but she's still totally crushing.
This is still a threat, yeah.
Bishop h6. Oh, it's still a threat, yeah.
Bishop b5 is completely useless piece, yeah.
Well, she just went for the endgame, but she's winning this too. So,
I don't know. Well, f4, okay. At least a little bit of an
exchange, but yeah, obviously hope
not much. Yeah, it's not much, but okay, 6 seconds. Like anything can still happen, right?
Of course, you would prefer to get checkmate.
Yeah, but it looks like she's held it together. It's getting simplified. Rook h7, rook king in. Yeah,
rook h5, and then sticking a king on g4 doesn't look too shabby.
Yeah, it's looking like, well, like White's got everything under control, but still, okay, Black's kept it alive, I would say.
Yeah, and it's not easy. You know, I have to say Vaishali does make it easy to play on the increment. She plays on the increment a lot, but it can get you in the end. So don't count this out until the clocks are stopped.
Yeah, I think maybe right now is when, things finally.
She's up a rook. And Vaishali wins the first game of the match. Well done, knight f3 by Harika, a move we haven't seen yet.
Yes. Okay. I'm not surprised she's going in for these positions. It's definitely part of what she can do. These sort of reti type of positions and castle, c4. Maybe she'll play c4 right here. Probably she will. Okay. Knight c6 castle. Knight c3 next. I think knight c3. Will Black or d4. Okay. Yes, that makes sense. And she goes in for the Maroxy with the 2 pawns on e4 and d4. I think that's what we're going to get ultimately.
Great opening to play in bullet. Just very uncomfortable for your opponent, whereas you get to make your moves quickly. So gotta love that. Versatility is really middle name here for Harika Dronavalli, even though she is down a point now. So
e4, typical move.
She's the one under pressure now. But in the position, I like her game.
Knight e3. Yeah, good. Making the knight better. Eventually, knight will want to arrive on d5. Very close on the clock, so both players are not spending a lot of time.
Right, Harika does have the advantage, and this is the problem. It's tough to play these positions for Black. Your moves don't come as easy. They don't flow like butter. So in a bullet game, it's very tough. I really like this choice by Harika. And after e6, rook d1.
Yeah, rook d1. Okay, knight e2 is probably just a dumb plan that I was showing, but all right. Queen a5, good move by Vaishali. It is tricky to play these Maroxy bind positions in bullet, right? Because you constantly have to watch out for this d5 break, but it does look like right now White is on the better side of it. She's just got that pawn.
Just take a pawn. Take some.
Can you take it? Yeah, I think.
Is there bishop f8? No.
Is defend it with c5 or e5.
Yeah.
So it looks like she also has the rook coming in, so it's perfect that she can double up her rooks.
Knight e8, though, that's a pretty smart idea.
And here. So she just has an extra pawn and more time on the clock.
And now with king g7, there was just
bishop f6, game over.
Yep, rook d7, and you're going to lose more material. Whoa. Okay. Yeah,
just take
it comes with a check. And now White is just up multiple pieces. And yeah, Harika's evening the score again. Oh, at this rate, we're gonna have a tie break.
Yeah, okay.
We got a lot of moves left. We got 20 minutes left of bullets. So okay, let's see if somebody goes on a run.
She's back to the Philidor, maybe. Yeah, there we go. It's time to trot it out, Harika. I agree. It worked out pretty nicely. We had a very exciting game last time you did it.
Yeah, I mean, White got a good position, but it was like White really had to come up with like the precise moves, and in bullet, of course, that's impossible. So another kind of practical bullet opening from Harika. Of course, she's played in many of these before. She knows what to do.
Yep. So she's going for G6, Bishop G7, I think, or maybe Bishop C6, huh? H6 here? No. Yeah, she's okay. She hasn't played perfectly, but it's a bullet game, so
it's all about keeping that edge on the clock and not blundering.
A6. Okay, now no A6. All right, she wants to trade pieces. Makes sense. Bishop takes, queen takes. White doesn't really want to trade, but the alternative was letting the bishop come to F6. And is there E5, Jen? Is that something we need to look for?
Well, I'm worried about Queen C4, that you've got so few. Your bishop is almost trapped. Luckily, you have Knight E5. But if we were to play F4 or something, like literally Queen C4 just to take your bishop would be a threat, which is kind of amusing.
Yeah, I agree. This is an annoying position for Black for sure. I think she's actually going for my idea with Queen C5. Yeah, I wasn't so sure about it, but makes some sense because this queen is very active. So Black is trying to challenge it, trade pieces in general. I don't like Queen B3, Jen. I don't like the
stubborn. You think? Yeah.
Yeah, I think even Queen B6, Knight C5 is kind of annoying for White. Take, definitely play bishop versus knight because the bishop's not that good.
Okay.
And okay, there it goes. She won a pawn. E5. Yeah, maybe she
E5 keeping things interesting because notice that bishop on G2 is now unleashed. So
yeah, if I were her, I would have definitely not allowed this E5 move to happen. Yeah, because now this bishop has become a good piece. No doubt. She's probably going to take. She still isn't getting the pawn back so easily.
No, not yet. And down to 7 seconds left on the clock. This is what we worry about. Queen D4 hitting the D6 pawn. That's cool, but
D6. There's Queen A1, Queen D1. She's still going to Queen A1 check, and she's still going to be down a pawn.
So Queen D1 saves the day, though.
Saves at Knight D4, I guess, is the obvious move. H5. There goes Harika again.
We're used to this.
Okay, she's better. I do think she'll take this game. I don't like the queen trade, though. I don't like that at all. Why would you trade queens when you got some initiative? And your opponent
I don't think she perceives her initiative as strongly over the board.
Well, this is not good. This is not good what Harika has done. I don't even. Okay, she won.
Now she's won a pawn, but her rook is totally stuck on F8. So now the knight needs to come to D6.
Yeah.
E6.
Go to E6. Yeah, go to E6, but then they play Rook B7. Okay, yeah, and Rook B7 here, Rook F4. Okay, she still has chances. This is not over. This is very much playable, but yeah, White's king is good on G5. That's true.
Yeah, and meanwhile, because of the highly reduced material, Vaishali has managed to cobble back some time here.
She needs to get rid of this pawn. Yeah.
Okay, but Black's going to keep trying.
It's going to keep trying.
In 15 seconds.
G5. Yeah, this is still in drawing territory. She can't really improve her king. That's the problem. King E4, King or G3. Okay, I don't know. Go maybe like that, but I mean that's a draw.
And they're also burning a ton of time with this game as we creep closer to the very final games.
Yes, because 60 move game, yeah. Okay, E5, yeah. So White can't set up a Philidor, so White still needs to be a little careful here. She has to go to the short side of the pawn.
A Philidor to a Philidor, Irina.
Ah, that's funny, Jen. Yeah, 2 Philidors in this game. So is Black trying to win or trying to lose? I guess it's still equal. Rook G behind the pawn. Whoa, what?
Queen.
What?
Wait,
What?
queen.
What just happened?
Okay, so I make a queen. You take.
This is crazy, Jen. Oh, this was not a good idea.
Hey, what happened?
White is going to win this because she completely went into this rook f8. That's
Wait. What? I'm so confused because I thought that we could make a queen and then you take our rook and then we could like check you or something.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess she didn't,
She didn't think that was, maybe she thought White was winning that or something. She didn't see it perpetual. Oh my God.
That was so unnecessary. So unnecessary.
So Vaishali takes the lead. Is this the first time in a while?
Yeah, this was a real giveaway by Harika. I mean, have you ever seen that? I mean, she had no risk at all to lose that game, and she had more time, and then she missed this rook f8. Then she was in a tough situation in terms of how to defend against that. All right.
Yeah. So basically, she could have made a queen, and then she would have lost her rook, and she was afraid that she wasn't going to be able to get a perpetual, and that White was going to be able to make a queen herself. Right?
Yeah, that was it.
Instead, she was hoping that the pawn versus queen endgame was going to be drawn, but it certainly was not.
Yeah. Well, I think what happened was that she just had very little time to make an important decision. She probably even knew that it was losing, but she just didn't see a move. So, sometimes you just do something random.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunate for her. But Vaishali, of course, is now on top. But will Harika even the score right now? She already has 12 extra seconds on the clock. But her position, I mean, she's not up any material, and Black's pawn is sitting there in D3. So seems like Black has done okay if she can hold on to that pawn. But that's a big
although it's kind of hard to save it now, isn't it, Jen?
Hard to save the pawn, right? Because you've got two things. Because after knight b4, you just have a3, right? And I mean,
my bishop about knight d3 is that you're attacking the bishop on c5, so you can get rid of that guy.
And bishop on b7. My knight on c6 is actually pinned. So
oh, really? What? You didn't take the pawn? Are you serious? What? You didn't take the pawn, Harika? That's a little surprising. All right. Well, knight e4.
Bishop d4, though. But now 13 seconds left for Vaishali. But we've seen her come back.
All right, so she's gonna take that pawn. Okay, well, it's good to get it off the board. I'm not sure why the engine doesn't like this for White. There probably were f5 ideas, but it's knight takes, and knight f6, right?
Nice move. But she didn't do it.
That's fine. She still has it as a big resource. So she's up a pawn for now. That's a relief. Knight g5 now. I don't think that move was very well timed by Vaishali with 2 seconds on the clock. Okay, I think Harika is going to equalize this, Jen. I think she will. But Vaishali has proven so resilient with just those few seconds. Like, you really need to keep playing well.
I know, you're right. She is very resilient.
H4 would have been good. H4, good positional move. Okay, so I think she should still win the end game, but it's a little tricky. Okay, she's up 2 pawns. Okay, she should win. She needs to get the king in now. Okay, H4 was good. Okay, got the pawn a little bit further along. G5 now by Vaishali. Losing that one. Okay, this is losing, and it's losing in a kind of standard way. It probably would be losing even if White.
Look at that. G4 checkmate on threat.
F3,
renewing the checkmate threat. Okay, rook F6, love it. Okay, though now after G takes H4, it's not checkmate.
It's not checkmate, but it is winning. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it is winning. And every win, of course, ties back to checkmate in the end.
Yeah, all right.
Don't get there.
So she's gonna try to push up that pawn and then A7, and if you take it, there's F4 checkmate. So there is, okay, that's nice. Rook H5. Make it just technical, yeah? Rook A6, okay, 2 connected pass pawns. You do have plenty of time to win it. It's not even the H and G pawns, Jen, which are a little tricky to win with.
And there it is, won by resignation. 14 minutes left here, Irina.
I don't know, Jen. It looks like they're really closely matched in the bullet portion as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, different styles, but they're just both really, playing amazing chess for bullet chess. It's crazy.
Yeah. So we got a Tarrasch variation this time. Okay, the pawn capture came a little early. Okay, she's going to go for knight e7 castles. Got it.
It's crazy. Somebody has to win this match, Irina.
I know. I wish they would just play forever, Jen. I like, 1 point difference and then they're back to even. All right. So Vaishali's doing pretty typical things here against this.
I like how she's doing against these Frenches. You know, she's getting herself a pretty comfortable position.
Bishop e3. Oh, okay, sure.
She's trying to attack.
Bishop f6, queen c7. Which one is it going to be?
Because you got to be careful. If you play something like bishop f6, you might be hit with a bishop takes h6. So here, on the other hand, you got queen d6, which is covering some of those money squares as well as attacking the d4 pawn.
Interesting decision by Harika. I was like not really looking in that direction, but very interesting. And bishop b5 is certainly a move she's going to want to play because, well, white's best piece is this bishop.
Right, but we're not gonna give it to you so easily.
Oh, okay. No, I think you will.
Well, it's not on the agenda anymore, as she didn't choose that line. Bishop b5 just played by Vaishali. A6, okay.
She's trying hard to keep that bishop, which is a good idea. But I think Harika is improving her position, and it kind of feels, well, maybe she'll go rook d8. It is not so clear, but I feel like in general, the trend of the game is fine for black.
Queen f3 now, so g4 could be a possibility, trying to get into a really strong endgame.
Yeah, you still can't take because if bishop takes, queen takes. Yeah, you couldn't take that. That's a weird move. Queen e6. Okay. Bishop e4. Ah, she stepped out of the pin. Got it. Now, Jen, she just needs to get out of this pin in order to be able to move her knight somewhere. I don't know.
Very tight game here on the clock as well.
Yeah.
Both players playing well. Two bishops here for white, a little bit more control for white, but
I agree. She's going for this plan.
But a little extra time, not anymore. Not any extra time anymore.
Harika needs to move her rook out of here. I don't like that rook on c8, Jen. But there's always bishop a6 tactics.
She's trying to improve her bishop now. Get it to g2. Ooh, bishop h3 on tap. Don't miss that one.
Oh, she missed
bishop
it.
h3. She missed it. She now has to play the horrifically weakening f5. Not a move you want to play because now all your pawns are.
No. This was not supposed to happen. Oh, how about like rook? I don't know. She can't really. Can we sack with rook e4?
Bishop f3, nice one. Ooh, but nice little save there. Queen e7. No time for bishop takes h5. Ooh, did we really have to trade queens? Oh, bishop g5.
Bishop e5.
Bishop g5. I didn't see that. She doesn't mind trading queens.
She didn't see it.
Wow.
Well, she kind of saw it. Okay.
There it is. Bishop e7, and now
she is winning, but. Will she be able to do it in time? I mean, she's kind of overwhelmingly winning.
Oh, rook c7.
I think she's going to manage. B7, rook c8, it's over.
Way better technique than my suggestion to win the piece here. And there it is. Vaishali, her score with e4 against the French in this match, Irina. If it wasn't for the playing against the French, I think she would be down like 4 points. She's won so many games against Harika's French.
Yeah.
Maybe Harika should switch back to the Philidor or the Petrov. I don't know.
All right. Well, Harika going for this bishop b5, takes c6, knight e5 idea. All right. e6. I suppose this is the plan. Take f4, or what do you want to do? You want to play d3? You can play d3 first.
This is a very key game, Irina, because we have less than 10 minutes left.
I would put my queen on c7, Jen, to make sure this knight can't go here. Now she got the knight in, which I don't think Vaishali should have allowed because, of course, that's white's whole dream to get the knight on e5 and f4. And at least, whether this is that good for white or not, it is their whole point in this opening. Wow, that's fun. Castle's queenside.
Fun, maybe more fun for Harika though?
Yeah, more fun for Harika, but fun for us as well.
Fun for us because the closer the match is, the more exciting it is, of course. Because of course, here Harika needs to win the game to even the score.
Oh, she just blundered. A knight of 7. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, Harika. That was
a blindness. It happens so much, especially in quick time control.
All right. That was a really big miss by Harika. Like really big opportunity. C4. I guess she will be going C4 round here.
Yes. The Eradicator says more funner. Did I say that? I feel like I didn't, but it's probably on camera. Bishop takes a
Oh, and since she blunders herself, I think she's getting a little tired. What's going on?
Oh
Knight
dear.
f3, bishop f4. That's a really big pawn, Harika.
Uh-oh. And this is a big
Doing?
one, as I said before, because if this game goes down for Harika, she'll probably be in a must-win situation in both of the last games. She'll have to win 2 in a row.
Yeah, Harika didn't like that she'd blunder that pawn, but she didn't make a very big expression. Okay, now she's lower on the clock, and
But
her position's not so bad. She's got a bishop versus a knight.
yeah, she's got some attacking ideas here.
Speed up, get that queen to f7.
We have seen both players save worse, Irina, in this match.
I agree.
A match of saves.
All right. And now rook e7. Rook e7, queen f7, rook e1, just simple. Okay, maybe b4. It's a little tricky. Ooh, I don't like that decision. I don't like to trade the queens. Wait, checkmate. Wait, what?
Oh my God. Wait, but there's rook e7. Wait, what's going on?
She gave up a rook for free. She gave up a rook for free, Jen.
Oh my God.
She blundered a rook on e7 to that queen, mimicking her own Vaishali's blunder of the rook on b3.
And now Vaishali's up 2 points, and Harika needs to win probably 2 in a row. We might have 3 games left, but she needs to win at least 2 games. Oh my.
You know, this is funny, Jen. The Eradicator says that you didn't say more funner, but that's something Irina would say. Well, I guess he thinks Irina doesn't know how to speak English, huh? Because I don't think.
Let's make it more funner, Irina. As we've got 2 games left, and if Harika wins this one, it will be very most funnest in the final.
All right. So we got Vaishali with the white pieces.
What's going on with bishop takes f2 check? Okay, this is a thing? Okay, because.
Oh wow! Actually, who knows, Jen? Why can't you take? Is that actually?
I don't know, but
maybe the bishop is trapped. Yeah, after king f1, maybe you don't really get him out so easily.
That makes sense. So instead, we've got this line though. I'm scared though that this is going to be bad because Vaishali has done so well with these types of positions.
Yeah, I mean they got 6 minutes left. If Harika can win this one, I mean she really needs to win this one to give herself a chance here. All right. And I think it's the kind of position with a level of pawn structure complexity that you can win.
Oh yeah.
Will white go g4 to deal with that knight, Jen? That's the big question. But it is a pretty risky move. Black will take and get the c file. So right now I think black is better. Knight b6, knight c4. Let's just, maybe even knight c5.
That's true. The bishop on d4 doesn't leave a very strong impression.
Yeah, black is in good position to try to get a point here. But, you know, maybe it's a little tricky. Maybe knight takes, pawn takes, queen c2.
Yeah.
Knight c4. Okay, I don't know about that because there's rook c1.
Yeah, rook c1 looks like a smart idea, but was not played.
Okay, I mean, black still has something. White will definitely try to get that pawn advantage, or maybe just get the knight to h5. She had a very dangerous attack against Harika's king in one of these games. This knight is blocking the rook. She needs to figure that out. This knight needs to move back like somewhere pronto and like open up the way for the rooks. Okay, I still like Harika, a little bit of a time edge, very playable position. Come in with the rooks. Yep. Come in, rook c2, rook c3, put the rooks.
Queen g4, getting that queen into the attack, but queen d2. You could attack us first. Okay, rook f1.
Queen d3 or something, sure. Queen d3, like make sure your queen is nice. Or maybe queen e2.
Oh, what do we do now?
Stepping into rook e1.
So knight f6 check, you just have king h8?
Yeah, that was the idea. That was the idea.
Queen e4, smart move.
Nice. Just keep her under pressure. I mean, white is about to flag. You just can't let her make any easy moves. It's super difficult for white to play this on time. A6 or maybe take, sure, okay.
Nice one, A6, love it.
Oh, nice transfer of the knight. I like that. Knight C6 coming
It's so fast.
So fast, it's hard to even, you know.
Yeah, it's hard to even
anything that makes sense in time. Yeah. Ooh, watch out for F7.
And she lost on time. time. And
All
now
right.
it's a 1-point match. It's a
Yes,
1-point
that's what we
match.
wanted. We wanted that win. So we have a chance to see a tiebreak, which I think would be awesome.
No, we're probably still going to get 2 games, right? 3.5 minutes left on the clock. So we're probably going to see 2 games.
All right, Harika back with the white pieces. I mean, she's been doing all right with these setups, so I think that's fine for her to enter it again. D4, so black wants to trade. Oh wow, play H5. And interesting strategy by Vaishali, H4, sure. It'll work for this game.
This is it. If Vaishali wins this game, it's going to be over because Harika won't have time to catch up.
Maybe E3, 92 or 95. 95 is probably the intention.
What a match, says Arun. Such a close finish. Kale Basket says, yes, come on, go, GM Harika.
Yeah, let's go, Harika.
Bullet draw, says Board Erica. If you're rooting for a tiebreak, Erica, well, Harika needs to win one and then there needs to be a draw. So I think the most likely route to that would actually be if she wins this one and then draws the next one. So that's probably what you're rooting for.
Yeah, the thing is that, draws are not so common in Bullet. That's the...
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, so you might be looking for a very, very long win.
Yeah. So F3, Bishop D7. Okay, so what is going on here? Harika's building up with Rook D1, Pawn E4, I think King H2. That's probably the setup, Rook D1. Yeah, King H2, don't even think about these moves. Okay, black is preparing B5. She needs to pay a little bit of attention to that. Building up a small edge on the clock, Rook AD1. There you go. I think this pawn wants to advance, Jen, but how do you get rid of this knight? Oh, okay, A5, sure. I like a little space on the queen side.
Oh boy, look at this encroachment here from Harika.
Yeah, she's all
like
over
her
her
space advantage, and she's also got 32 seconds to 13.
Which one to take? But what, I mean, this is a good move by Vaishali. What to do? Just maybe keep your knight, maybe knight D5. I don't know. Okay, sure. Some check, some sort of C5 somewhere.
Uh-oh.
I don't know, Jen. I feel like this is not going in the right direction. C5.
And time's been equalized now. King G8, E5.
E5 is good. It's Queen C7. But it's not so bad for black. Black has emerged from this okay. This bishop is not very good. Yeah, all right. This is going to be a tough one, Jen. This is not easy. White is not really much better.
And not only that, but the times have been equalized.
Yeah, Harika. Oh, wow. There's 52 seconds to match.
But look at that pawn is gone on D6. That's a good one.
All right, Harika needs to win. She needs to win, and it will be probably tiebreak time. Okay.
Oh my God, 33 seconds. You're right.
Right, checkmate in one threat. How does she stop this? Okay, Queen D4. She found it. Amazing defense by Harika.
Should Vaishali resign and get white?
Oh man, well,
big choice for her.
I'm sure she's not thinking about that.
No, she feels like it's probably
2 extra pawns. Now just move the bishop back and start pushing those pawns. Yeah, push those pawns. C6. It looks good. Maybe, but what to do? How to?
4 seconds left on the clock, and we are going to go to a tiebreak if this game is won.
Nice. Okay, she wins another pawn. Maybe she should have taken that pawn in A6. What is she doing? She's just,
oh no,
she's not doing something right here. I don't like it. Rook D7.
Rook D7 though. She got that.
Still a chance. Rook F7. Whoa, no, no. No.
Oh my God. Wait, there was Rook takes F7 and then Queen, Irina.
Blunder. I know. Rook F7. Oh, man. That was so painful.
Oh my gosh. Vaishali with the checkmate mating net from nowhere. Oh my gosh. That wasn't the only time that there was a checkmate like that.
Harika. Yeah, you gave up that match unnecessarily.
It's all about move order, Irina. If she played Rook F7 check first. Then King F7.
Our fans.
Then we make a queen.
F7, and then you know what you can do? You can even do that second time idea of getting the king there to make a queen. Wow, you just have to pay attention. What does the opponent want? The opponent wanted to checkmate you in one move. So you had to play with check. It was basic. She still even had a little bit of time to figure that out. Really sad, really sad. That could have gone to a tie break. But, well, what can you say? I mean, in a match between two deserving players, someone has to win. And I cannot say that Vaishali did not deserve to win, Jen.
What a match. I mean, her middle name, resilience. She was just down on time in so many games, but she played so well with the 1 second increment. Always looking for her opportunities. In fact, the mate on H1 kind of reminded me of another mate on H1, right? With like the knight G3 earlier in the match.
Yeah,
she had a very similar one.
Made it Harika twice in this match with this H1 square.
Yeah, and just like constantly never giving up, and not only never giving up the chances for the draw, but not giving up the chances for a little sneaky complete turnaround, which happened several times. I mean, honestly, from both sides. There were also cases where that happened to Vaishali. Like, remember when
we are going to be having Vaishali join us for an interview. So shall we take a break for a minute, Jen, as we set that up? And
yeah, let's do it. I can't wait.
The match.
Can't wait to hear from her. Thank you, everybody, for sticking with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. I know you're all recovering from that match, but here she is, the winner, Vaishali, international master, Olympic team member for India, and now semi-finalist in the Women's Speed Chess Championships. Congrats. What a show.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It was a great match. Yeah.
Yeah, what was the high point for you?
I had a 2-point lead in 5+1, but somehow Arikaka was coming back in whenever I took lead, she was coming back. And yeah, I thought it was very shaky. Even in the end, I don't know, anything could have happened. I just got lucky in the end.
It seemed like you were really having a lot of success against her French defense. A lot of your most beautiful, quick victories were against the French. Have you always had success against that opening?
Not at all, but somehow it was working today.
Yeah,
And
she was definitely putting you under some pressure on the clock. How did that feel? Was it kind of uncomfortable?
Yeah, almost literally every game I was in time trouble. I think I was down on clock 1 minute in all the formats. So somehow, yeah, I tried to be fast, but I was always low on time.
But you had a lot of very nice saves, even with little time on the clock. That we could call miraculous, right? That must have given you some confidence to save those games.
Yeah, I was incredibly lucky in many games. Even the last game, I think even Rook F7 was winning for it.
Yes. Move
Yeah.
order. Oh,
Yeah, 1-2, and I think we will be going for a tie break after that game. I don't know what would happen in the tie break. So I was very lucky in the end. Yeah.
We wanted to see some tie breaks, but I guess from your point of view, it's nice to end the match on that. Yeah. You're playing Katerina Lagno in the next match. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, she's a very strong player. I'm looking forward. I didn't think about it actually. It's going to be exciting.
So next week, you're going to be flipping this switch, and instead of being against Harika on the board, you're going to be side by side against her in the Women's Olympic playing for India A. How excited are you to see the greatest players of the world come to India for the Olympiad?
This will be my first over the board Olympiad. I'm like super excited for the event, and also Arikaka will be playing as well. She's one of the biggest inspiration actually. To play alongside will be very interesting and fun.
Why is she one of your biggest inspirations?
She's a great personality as well. We were in the same team in World Team Championship also last year. We won silver medal, and she helped me a lot both on the board and off the board. She's a good sister for me, you can say.
Aww.
She helps me.
Yeah, she does really have a great personality. I remember at the Karen's Cup, she was always one of the greatest interviews. She always had something interesting and kind to say. So I'd love to hear that you guys have a good relationship off the board, and on the board. You created quite a spectacle for us. Really grateful to both of you for your fighting spirit and your versatility. You kept switching up the openings. Thank you so much for giving such a great match.
Thank you.
Yeah, we really enjoyed that, Vaishali, and we wanted to wish you the best luck in your next match with Katerina, and also looking forward to seeing you and playing the Indian team at the Olympiad.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, see you in the Olympiad.
Wow, what a wonderful, wonderful sportsmanship in that match. As you can see, Irina, both players like each other so much. I think that bears I was mentioning that earlier, Irina, that when they like each other, they play even harder against one another. Isn't it funny?
Yeah, well, in a match, you got to play hard, right? Because only one person goes through. But yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that she looks up to Harika. I mean, Harika has definitely, along with Humpy, been a trailblazer in Indian women's chess. She's always been very successful at the Women's World Championship knockout tournaments. After Humpy, I guess, is the next strongest player, crossing 2,500. She's been very stably in the world's top 10 for many years now, and now going to be playing for her team at 8 months pregnant. Well, I think she's just very, very committed to chess and an inspiration.
Oh yeah, super awesome. Yeah, I love to hear it, and I think she'll play really well when pregnant. I don't think she'll encounter many difficulties based on this speed chess championships. And the cool thing is that because of the format of the Olympiad, if there is any reason she needs to take a day off, and there are alternates, right? So definitely a really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. Olympiad coming up is going to be a super exciting event, and it's going to be great to see this Indian team in action.
That's right. But we also have another semifinals match, which is going to be absolutely sizzling. We have Grandmaster Ho Yifan, highest rated woman in history, versus the chess queen herself. Alexandra Kostyuk, has been on top of the game for so many decades, an incredible player. They're going to be facing off, and it's going to be on Thursday, July 28th at 3:30 a.m. Pacific time. Wow, that match is going to be quite a big one, Irina. Who would be your pick in that?
Well, I think it's hard to pick against Hao Yifan when you get to 2680 FIDE rating. Even if you start playing chess a bit less, and even when you're playing a great blitz player like Alexandra Kosteniuk, it's hard to pick against Hao Yifan. So I just think I can't really do that. But I do think that it's going to be a close match. And Alexandra is always dangerous for everyone. So yeah, hopefully it's just going to be close.
Yeah, that's going to be a great one. And what a great women's speed chess championships we've had so far. And particularly today was so much fun to call. Thank you so much to all of our viewers, to Matt and Garan, and to everyone at chess.com, of course. And Irina, it's been a blast as always. I just wish it could have kept going, but
yeah,
the event will keep going. Big congrats to Vaishali for her impressive performance. And I know I'm pretty inspired because she showed us versatility and perseverance, two really important skills, not just for chess, but really for anything. So thanks for the inspiration.
She showed, both players really showed good stuff today. Not giving up. Vaishali started the match ahead. Harika clawed her way back into it. And it was so close the whole way through. Both players had to face some setbacks, some disappointments, and blunders in these games. But ultimately, I think Vaishali is a very deserving winner, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what she's going to be doing in her next match against Logno.
Me too. Yeah, it's going to be a great finish for the women's speed chess champs. So keep them on your calendar, and thanks everybody in the chat for the wonderful comments. I love you too. And until next time, it's Jennifer Shahade, and I'm with Irina Krush. Congrats to Vaishali, GG to Harika Dronavalli, and we'll see you next time.